We have some traffic on coming from Kiambu Road, joining to the Muthaiga Square, out towards the Pangani Underpass, through to Ngara, and then to the Globe Cinema Overpass. There we have a steady flow of traffic. It's not bumper to bumper just yet, but it's moving really slowly. All right, let's look on the other side of things and going towards Outer Ring, Taj Mall, North Airport Road in that direction, already picking up quite some. Heading out towards the Eastern Bypass, you should get some good vibes because it will not be too jam-packed right now. The bypasses are looking pretty good. We've just talked about Eastern, looking towards Southern and Northern and Red Hill coming out of Westlands. Longer routes, but into town with no trouble at all. Let's see what it looks like in a short while. It's kicking things off this Friday morning, and hopefully traffic will not be a sore thumb for us. Talk to us on SpiceFMKE on Twitter. Text on 40127. It is Friday, but we still, like yesterday, want to keep things moving.
Spice FM, Nyeri. This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room.
It is Friday,
the only way to start your day.
Of May 2021, and we are kicking things off with you this morning. Good morning. Good morning. City.
Drew, how are you this morning?
Fine, thank you.
We are really chirpy today, aren't we?
Look.
Okay, I will look. And when I look, tell me what I will see.
Have you realized that you never know if the birds are in a bad mood? Or if the birds had a long night, maybe the little twigs in their nest fell apart, they had laid an egg and it fell crushing to the ground and all of this. You never know.
You don't know.
Exactly. You never know.
No. Don't include me in the you.
We humans don't know because they still wake up in the morning chirping and singing their songs.
Actually, it's because we don't really have a decoding device for those songs. In our ears, it's the same thing.
Yeah, but a song is a song. Whether it is sad or happy, they're still chirping and singing, no?
The bird conversation is what human beings call a song.
Okay.
And when it's louder, with bigger birds, like the duck, we say they're quacking.
Yes.
Okay? When they're smaller birds, we say they're chirping.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That is bird language. Bird speak.
Bird cluck.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We don't actually understand it.
We don't know if they're sad or happy. Or
my idea is not to rain on your parade.
Hey, there's nothing raining on this parade today, man.
Yes. I'm actually just marching alongside with you. It's just that you are walking on the right and I'm walking on the left.
Okay.
But we're walking. Yes.
But there's a sound that comes from the birds that still all sounds pleasant as you hear it.
Early in the morning when you hear it, well, put it this way. If you had the clucking of a duck early in the morning, how exactly would
I think I'd be a little bit irritated.
Precisely.
But I'm talking about the little birds that, sing outside your window. Those ones.
Yes.
I'm not asking for the honking of geese or the quacking of ducks. They're the little birds that, tweet, 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 tweet.
Yes. So it's like they've woken up and they're having a conversation among themselves.
Yeah, and it's pleasant to hear.
It is.
Okay. So, good morning.
Good morning.
You had a good day yesterday?
I did.
Here we are in the Situation Room this morning, the last Friday of May. Things are actually going really fast. We're almost in the middle of the year.
No, they're not.
They're not going quickly?
No, they're not.
They're going slowly?
No.
They're just going as they should.
The thing is, the illusion that things are going either slowly or fast have to do with the state of mind that you're in.
Look, CT, just yesterday I was saying goodbye to my mother at the airport, and that was in January.
you
We're
are
3 days
older
away from
and
June.
your life is full of activities. And so before you can say
Jack Robinson.
Well, yes, Jack and Jill, lo and behold, a month has gone by. Ask your children what a day is like. Or ask your children the journey. If you tell them, say, you are going to Nyalgunga, all right?
I don't know where that is.
Yes. Well, it's in the direction of your marital home. Okay? Yes, I know it's Ugenya, but Nyalgunga is in that direction.
Nyalgunga.
Yes.
Okay.
Home. 5 minutes into the journey, they will ask you, have we arrived?
This is true.
5 minutes.
And you want to literally put a sock in it.
And you are still on Mombasa Road. When you get to Wayaki Highway, again the question, have we arrived? Yes. I think you get what I'm saying.
I get your point. All right. Good morning, everybody, and joining 4 hours. Before we do that, let's take a look at what's happening with COVID-19 in the world. Still important to do that. Global numbers now stand at 169,624,157. COVID, looking at it also from a global scale. China now hits back as the US revisits the Wuhan lab link theory. A couple of days ago, we gave the story where, the US health experts are demanding of the World Health Organization and other invested bodies that we need to find the origin of COVID. Is it true that it was manufactured in and released from a particular lab? If so, we need to find out. And if there's going to be any kind of prosecutorial action, or if there's going to be an inquiry into all of this and it's going to be on a global scale, we need to start finding out the details. Well, China has come back and they have said, that's all well and good. However, they've denounced the efforts to further investigate whether COVID-19 came from a Chinese lab. US President Joe Biden said he expects to release the results of an intelligence report on the origins of the virus. China's foreign ministry accused the US of political manipulation and blame shifting. It has rejected any link between COVID-19 and a virus research lab in the Chinese city of Wuhan. So, why the lab link theory is being taken seriously? It was first detected in 2019. The World Health Organization has said it is extremely unlikely that the virus spread from a lab leak following a visit to Wuhan early this year to investigate the origins of the coronavirus outbreak. World Health virologist Marion Koopmans, who was part of that field visit, told the BBC that if the US authorities had any information, they should share it, because they're being insistent on this. Maybe they know something that we do not know. So the questions are, why is this dispute happening now? In a statement Wednesday, Biden said he had asked for a report on the origins of COVID-19 after taking office, including whether it emerged from human contact with an infected animal or from a laboratory accident. On receiving it this month, he asked for additional follow-up. So the World Health Organization and their experts are saying, okay, guys, let's not grope around in the dark here. If we are asked to investigate this thing and you know something, you might as well tell us so that we can, combine that with our efforts and get some answers in terms of what we're looking for.
We want to talk about COVID, and we should. You want to look for the origins, and I'm sure there's good logic behind it. Why don't we start with HIV? Because HIV ravaged populations, killed people for the longest time. Why is it that wasn't an issue?
Why was it not a problem?
You see, even when the pursuit of a certain truth seems legitimate, if it is presented at a certain point in time with political overtones, then whatever scientific benefit one may derive from it will be lost, because it will now become a political discussion, whereas it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
Because the discussion that we're talking about, if you look at it, and the genesis of it, scientists have been saying this for the longest time. One of the things that human beings have been doing in the recent past is human beings have been, for instance, changing their eating habits. Right?
Yes.
They've been eating creatures that previously they didn't eat. Yes, and in eating the creatures that they didn't eat, what they are then doing, they are ingesting with these creatures microorganisms that previously they were alien to. That's
right.
One. Two, human beings are creating foods for livestock, for birds that form part of their food stock, and they are using ingredients that involve other species which were not natural to these beings. Essentially, human beings have been changing the way we coexist with other animals for the longest time. Just like when you talk to environmentalists, they will tell you that because of our activities, whether it's green gas emissions, whether it's deforestation, human beings have been influencing their own lives by their actions in ways that they previously hadn't. What we are then saying is that there are consequences. And the truth is we don't fully understand these consequences.
We don't.
And they keep emerging. Because you take an action somewhere along the line. For instance, we have a situation where the so-called cold north, or is it south? My friend, ice. It's melting.
Yep.
You have icebergs, the size of countries, moving in the seas. Icebergs melt, water level in the seas rise. Why is it then that we are surprised that we have pandemics? Why are we surprised that the earth is warming up more than it
ever has?
But we are bringing this upon ourselves by our decisions. This pursuit can be good, but right now it has entered the political realm. So the politics of it is going to dominate the discussion, whereas what should dominate it is the scientific aspect of it.
Absolutely. We're getting around to 6:15, starting off the show and looking into the papers in a short bit. The Situation Room begins. Nduoko and CT Muga in the studio with you this morning. Before we come back and look at what is making headlines in the papers today, let me tell you about Standard Jobs, all right? standardmedia.co.ke/jobs is where you want to log on to. If you already have accounts, begin to apply for those jobs that are available to you this and every day. At the same time, if you have not logged in or created an account, log in and sign up, and then you start to access jobs such as full stack software developer for Onfon Media Limited, internal audit officer for AA Kenya. Oasis Healthcare Group Limited is looking for receptionists. They're also looking for pharmaceutical technologists. An ICT officer, a third grade, is being looked for at the county government of Kakamega, and laboratory technologist is also being looked for at Oasis Healthcare Group. There are many jobs up for grabs. This could be the start to a new career for you, or the beginning of one if you haven't before. It's standardmedia.co.ke/jobs.
There are so many people peddling what is false, and that it bears remarkable resemblance to what is true.
Politicians have their agenda, and their agenda is to use every opportunity to sell that agenda and to loot this nation.
I have seen major strides that are done in this country when we talk to each other as against talking at each other.
We start getting back into the tribal cocoons which were put to us by the colonial powers. You know, they gave us physical freedom but not mental freedom. We're still mentally colonized today into these cocoons of tribe.
Now, if you live in an area where it's difficult to find a dog,
He's a goat. I kid you not.
In which part of this country is it difficult to find a dog? So that you resort. Nafandi umbo yako iko na
nini umba special.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. (24/7) around the world, non-stop. This is SpiceFM.
Procurement of legal services has been challenging due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In view of this, SpiceFM has partnered with the International Development Law Organization and the National Legal Aid Service to answer all your questions regarding access to legal aid services during the pandemic. Tune in to Double or Direct with Olivia Otieno every Saturday from 10 a.m. for weekly informative and interactive sessions with the help of legal professionals.
Hello.
Halo, umesikia?
Nimesikia nini?
Hujasikia habari? Hebu acha nikuambie. Kile kimetokea.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Don't wait for hearsay. Dial star 550 star 1 hash to read the standard e-paper from the convenience of your mobile phone for only 20 shillings
It's
from your
mostly cloudy this
telecom
Nairobi
line.
morning at
And
15.
stay up
That'll
to
be below coming through today. Highs of 24. It's 14 degrees and raining lightly in some parts of Nyeri at 14. Highs of 22. Mostly cloudy conditions in Nakuru at 12. Highs of 27 and lows of 14. We're looking at highs of 24 in Eldoret as well. It's clear at 11. 18 degrees and mostly clear in Kisumu. Highs of 28 and lows of 19 today. Mostly clear conditions at 17 in Kakamega. Highs of 28 and lows of 15. We'll see highs of 30 in Mombasa. It's raining at 24. Light rain at 27 in Malindi. Highs of 30 and lows of 26. 27 will be the high in Kampala, where it's mostly clear at 19. Looking out into Dar es Salaam, it's mostly clear at 21. Highs of 30 and lows of 22. 12 degrees and clear in Johannesburg. Highs of 21 and lows of 7. It's raining in Lagos at 27. Highs of 32 and lows of 26. 34 will be the high in Kinshasa, where it's clear at 23. It's 26 degrees and sunny looking out into Friday afternoon in Beijing. Highs of 28 and lows of 16. 21, and that will be the high in Paris today. It's currently clear at 10. It's 10 degrees and clear as well in London. Highs of 19 and lows of 10. And finally, for now, Thursday night in New York is warm at 19. It's coming into Friday and will go to highs of 27 and lows of 15.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
You know, when you see someone being jailed, a governor or two or someone who stole, then people will fear. Because our problem is not the borrowing, it's the stealing.
We've become actually a nation of thieves. The only thing we lack is an opportunity to steal.
The guys who quote the Bible and say I'm a Christian and all that, and you know they're thieves. Return what you have stolen 4 times. If you know that you have property or anything that you have stolen, just return and say, my God does not allow me to hold stolen things.
We are also a reflection of you, because you elect us. You know, we don't get into our office by ourselves. We are a reflection of the people who elect us.
We don't want to go to the streets. We have a constitution that enables us to assert our will.
When the legislature are now being taken as hostage by the executive for whatever reason, we are now bound by what they want us to do.
This is just outside the realms of reality.
We have impunity written into the DNA of our political class.
How old were you when you learned that Jeshi Lokop is Jeshi Lawokop?
I can't say it very well.
And everyone knows. Okay.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
Today, we're going to start the hour with a proverb from City.
Indeed, you are. Let me open the page. This proverb is from Lesotho. You know, I have been trying to find what these proverbs or how these proverbs are stated in the language that they originated from before they were translated into English. And I wish I knew exactly how it is said, because the best I can do is read it in the way I would read Kiswahili.
Kiswahili.
Yes. Okay.
Try.
Right. This one. Right. Let me forgive me. Speakers of this language, please forgive me.
In advance.
Yes. If I really muddy your language, but let me read it as I would the Kiswahili language. Tapole. That is how the first word is. Bolilenge. Bolisatse. Ling. Tapole. Bolilenge. Bolisatse. Ling. As I would Kiswahili. I'm certain that's not how the native speaker would read, but that is how I've read it.
Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire?
Languages. Really very simple. A rotten potato affects the rest.
There are many more like that, isn't it?
Oh, yes. It's very, very typical of very, very many, the apples and other fruits. Yes.
That spoil each other.
Influence. Consequences. we'll talk more about it later, won't we?
Yes, we will.
Yes.
Okay, so we're taking a look at what's happening in the papers, or rather what's making news in the headlines today. But before that, just going to tell you quickly about the Standard e-paper, and so conveniently being able to read the paper on the go, and looking at what you essentially can do with that. The Standard e-paper, available to you, epaper.standardmedia.co.ke. You can subscribe to the new Standard e-paper. How do you access it? Click on the landing page and log in on the icon on top right corner and enter your name and password and proceed. If you don't have an account, you can create one using your Facebook or Gmail credentials. So once you log in, head over to Read Now, and the editions on the homepage will be available then for you to subscribe to. For 10 shillings a day for a limited time, you then can have access to so many things all at once. Get the news at your fingertips, pay 10 shillings via M-Pesa or using your card, and then you can have access to all the news that's available on Standard Media's premium editions. That's a Standard epaper.standardmedia.co.ke. All right, looking at news that's making the headlines today, front page of the Standard. It's another bombshell for Uhuru. High Court sends home 128 top parastatal chiefs after finding their recruitment flawed, dealing the president a major blow. I think a question is, has it dealt a blow to the president himself, to the office of the presidency, or then in terms of what has been happening in these parastatals for the longest period of time? If it turns out now that those positions are actually legal. This is the second that we are seeing in a short period of time. The first that we saw from the High Court deeming the offices of the CASs unconstitutional, as well as some cabinet secretaries void because they then had not taken their second term in office back to Parliament for vetting. All right. So, according to the courts, Uhuru appointed parastatal heads illegally. A total of 128 senior parastatal chiefs hired by President Uhuru Kenyatta in June 2018 were yesterday sent home by the High Court, a few days before expiry of their 3-year terms. In yet another verdict faulting the head of state for failing to follow the law, Justices Jesse Lasit, Chacha Mwita and Lucy Joguna concluded that although the president had powers to do the appointments, the process was flawed as they were not subjected to competitive recruitment. The litigants, Katiba Institute, in the case challenging the appointments, had argued that the recruitment was based on patronage. The ruling, however, comes a few days after a good number of the appointees exhausted their 3-year terms, with a few others leaving next week. The 3-judge bench, in this case it's 3-judge CT, found that the Kenyans in the 2010 constitution wanted those qualified to be appointed to public offices to be done in a transparent manner, where gender equality was to be observed. It's the second time that the High Court is faulting the president over making illegal appointments. On the 20th of April, the court held that the law does not have a position of cabinet administrative secretary and found that the creation of such positions was illegal. So,
by the way, this list is long.
The list is
128.
long.
It includes, just think of parastatals. Think of, there are many.
They are.
Whether they are retired military officers, whether they are individuals who had contested for some political position and didn't quite get it. Oh, that list is long. And it's long in that it also encompasses very many eminent individuals from, oddly enough, pleasantly enough, right across the country.
I wonder what it means. So I think many questions are popping up now. So does that mean that what they did over these last 3 years, because now a lot of them, their terms are coming to an end over 3 years, you then want to say that what the work that they did was not legitimate for those who they've earned over this three-year period of time? What does it actually mean now that this ruling is coming at the end of the term for the majority of them? So then the question pops up: does it matter? So now you're going to bring in new individuals.
Yes, it matters.
Yes,
You're
going to either want to continue their terms. One, you want to bring in new individuals. Does it then give the state an opportunity to do it the right way according to the courts? Or are you going to say, all right, these are the individuals that we want to retain these positions? What process shall we follow then to make it illegal?
They know what the process is.
So then why not do it?
And why do you want to retain these people? Remember, some of these appointments are actually political rewards, okay? As you head towards 2022, are you going to regurgitate the people whom you had before? Are you going to strategically look at people who might be of benefit to you come 2022? What do you think this is going to be? Do you want us to continue looking at this, or should we discuss it in greater detail later?
We're going to talk about it in detail later and see then actually what it should mean. You know, when some of these appointments are made, do they have a political skew, and that is the reason why then they do not follow the constitutional process? We'll talk about that in detail later on, but let's continue looking at what else is making the headlines today.
Actually, I don't want to look at a headline.
No?
No. The thing that I want to, that caught my attention in the Standard is an opinion by a gentleman by the name of Michael Ndonye. Why Uhuru might not say Tosha to any 2022 aspirant. I like this particular opinion because the summary of it more or less says it all. It says, Uhuru is retiring as president but cannot retire as a politician at his age. As such, he will not risk a futile endorsement. Remember the discussion we had about the leadership in central Kenya? And my opinion on that subject?
Yes.
I think let me just say it again for those who didn't hear it. Uhuru is still the leader of central Kenya. The fact that somebody isn't president doesn't mean that they stop being the leader. Remember, when you're talking about political optics and the games that are played to create a certain image, a certain perspective, you must then go beyond that image and ask yourself, what do you really see is happening here? A diversionary tactic, focus on the left when in actual fact we are moving to the right. That is what happens at this particular season in our country when you're talking about politics and you're talking about an election. When you talk about our 5-year cycle elections, we often forget that it's an election of very many other people. We think of it as a presidential election.
You think about the presidency,
yes,
but they're
quite... It's the president, it's the governors, it's the senators, it's the members of parliament, it's the women's rep.
It's the MCAs.
It's the MCAs, okay? All these people are going to be elected on that one day.
Absolutely.
So, with that in mind, and considering how each feeds into the other, and how each political party wants to garner as many people as possible in each of these positions, then anything that happens between now and 2022, in my mind, must be seen in that light.
Well, okay then. Anything. All right. We're going to take a break and then come back and continue looking at these stories. It's now 29 minutes to 7 o'clock. Let's take a look at traffic and then the conversation continues.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. .24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
We have all experienced or witnessed period poverty without knowing it. 28th May 2021 is Menstrual Hygiene Day. Kasha, an e-commerce platform for women's health and self-care products and information, wants you to join in our campaign towards empowering women as they #break the cycle. You can do this by donating sanitary towels and spreading the word. Visit www.kasha.co.ke/break-the-cycle and learn what you can do to #break the cycle. We've been all through it, you know. We go to school, study hard, get the much-deserved grades and celebrate our graduation. Then reality hits us. We get to the job market and we simply don't know where to start off. Thankfully, by visiting jobs.standardmedia.co.ke, your next career breakthrough could be a click away. Get the best in career.
All right, building up on Mombasa Road already. We've seen this, the Juja stage today, coming out on Thika Road through to Safari Park Hotel, out in that direction. The service lane's looking pretty good already. We're looking at a situation where they might be clogged up not too long from now. Okay, so if you're out on Thika Road, take advantage of the fact that traffic is moving smoothly now. It's going to clog up in a short while. This one I can guarantee. Outer Ring, going towards North Airport, it is still packed. What to do is the question many folks are decrying every morning, and it's looking crazy already. Southern Bypass looking good though. Eastern Bypass even looking better. Coming off of the Red Hill Bypass, going the long route, getting into the city, and then out towards Limuru Road. You can use that without too much of a headache. Langata Road, for now, it's quiet. The beast that has been Langata Road in the last few days, we don't know what time this one is going to wake up. So if you're out and about early, take advantage of that, won't you? Okay, let's look into Mombasa. KFS tells us how many ferries up for use this morning? 3. *712#. Pay your ferry toll via M-Pesa. Do not use cash or you will be turned back. It's simple, guys. Let's keep remembering that, because somehow still every day there's someone who shows up with cash. You can't get through. We'll come back and look at what's happening in other parts of the country as terms traffic. Don't forget, text us on 40127 and tweet SpiceFM KE.
Spice FM, Malindi.
Miaka 20 safari ilianza ya kutuunganisha kama Wakenya. Twende tukiuke, let's go beyond, let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Mimi na wewe tukikundi, kazi nzuri ya kujivunia. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Kwa juhudi na matumaini, twaelekea kesho pamoja. Twende tukiuke, Safaricom.
Spice FM.
Hey, it's getting hot in here. The media has greatly contributed to the moral rot that we experience in this country.
I remember a senior politician telling me, point blank, nobody steals in the field, it's stolen in the granary. So my friend, if you're going to win an election, jipange kwa granary.
I think we are suffering from Stockholm syndrome. Our violator and abuser is also our redeemer in our mind.
The whole political class, the whole political institution is rotten. It is based on ideals that cannot progress our country forward.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
Where are you this morning?
Mornings
Maybe on
done.
94.4, 87.9 in Mombasa, or are you in Nyeri, 90.9? Kisumu is live on 102.5 this morning. It's the Situation Room with Ndroko and Siti Muga in the studio. I see you guys. Where were you? You've logged in now. Good morning, Benson. Charity, I see you as well. Paul Omariba, good morning to you from Mombasa, is what you're saying. Welcome to the Situation Room this morning. Beida Wamacha, good morning and welcome. Joining us this morning. Wa Ebube Mumias. That's where Faristo Muganda is tuned in from. And welcome, fine people. Kisumu is awake. Good job, Sir Haran. Karibu sana. Edwin Washira, you're in this morning from Kirinyaga. Karibu. And you're also like Eric Latif, who's gone to collect his Huduma number card. Well, good on you, my man. Let's see how it comes out. After that, you can compare stories. We're looking at what's making headlines today. What are making the top stories today, and just continuing with that. The Kotu boss, Atwoli, has gotten a street named after him, CT. It's called Francis Atwoli Road. Nairobi County Government has renamed a road after Workers' Union boss Francis Atwoli. Deputy Governor Anne Kananu yesterday renamed Mandera Road in Kileleshwa after the Central Organization of Trade Union boss Francis Atwoli to honor the veteran unionist for his efforts in agitating for workers' rights. This road has been renamed after my good friend and brother Bwana Francis Atwoli in recognition of his selfless contribution and agitating of the rights of Kenyan workers in the last 54 years, according to the Deputy Governor. He thanked Kananu's leadership for recognizing his role in the trade movement and further reaffirmed his commitment to address the plight of Kenyan workers. So when you're driving through Kileleshwa now, you will be able to see emblazoned in permanency the fight towards helping Kenya's workers.
Actually, this man, who, according to Wikipedia, was born in 1949.
According to Wikipedia.
Yes, according to Wikipedia, was born in 1949. In fact, to be precise, 6th June 1949, rather, which puts him at the age of 71, and started his active work in this in the field of representation of the workers in 1967. It's a long time for someone to be in that line of work. And what is remarkable is just the length of time he has been Secretary General of KOTU. Now, other discussions about the man and his involvement in politics aside, for someone to retain a position that is that competitive for that length of time, there's something this gentleman understands about people. There's something this gentleman understands about how to work with others.
Yeah, there's a reason he keeps coming back.
Yes, because KOTU represents every trade union in the country. Central Organization of Trade Unions. That's what it's called.
Right.
Now, for you to head it for this long, you really have understood how it is to work with people.
Okay, let's look at it on the other side now and the naming of this particular road. There's a suggestion that I've just been given now. One simple suggestion. Instead of giving roads names of leaders and celebrities, if we give names of the contractor who built it with his address and number, I think the quality of roads will improve immediately.
And the specific address of where he lives.
Yes, his phone number. The one who, this is the guy who built this road, his name, he lives here, this is his number.
And the people he worked with are the following, and the phone number this, and this is where they live.
By the time people know that is the modus operandi, you will do it right, my friend. So either be lauded or abused. You pick your battle. You pick. Nice one. Hey. Okay.
Right. There is, in the realm of activists, another particular pot is bubbling.
Oh, yay.
Yes. Now, they want, remember there was the issue of the appeal of the BBI verdict, where the 5-judge bench.
Good.
Got it right?
I have to applaud you if I can find that thing for clapping for people.
Bench,
yes. Well
okay.
done.
They are now saying there's a petition, they want this case to be heard in open court, not virtually, and saying it is complex and of great public concern, and that it should take place over 2 days. And they're saying the bench should have 7 judges, not 3.
Oh.
Oh, yes.
It's not enough. All right, because you need to then spread.
Yes.
You need to diversify the opinions.
Yes, we have an appeal, we understand.
Okay.
That particular judgment that has brought about this appeal had 5 judges. Make it 7.
Would it make a difference?
Yes, it would.
Because you're increasing the opinions that would come.
Well, look
or
at
interpretations
it this way.
that would come from more.
As opposed to 3, as opposed to 2, appears to be more representative.
Yeah, okay.
It's just the numbers. But I can understand what they're saying. And what I actually find of interest is when they're saying, let it be in open court, so that people can, let it not be virtual. Open court that people can hear it. All right? Now, I think the political space just opened up a notch more.
I don't actually have a quarrel with that, you know? I actually don't have a quarrel with that, because then you give more people the opportunity to lend their voice.
By the way,
to something like this.
You know, I actually gave you just, storytelling has to do with the certain stylistic device okay, called Suspense.
You know me, I like this storytelling thing.
Yes.
I used to sit at the feet of my father, and he would tell stories from, where the stories that he had from the war, and then how life in Nigeria changed. So a lot of what I know is not what I about history is sitting at his feet. Then I was able to then now corroborate later when I was reading from books. So this storytelling thing that you're doing recently, Siti, I'm liking it. So can you go a little bit more into this?
Yes. The Third Way Alliance Party member.
Okay.
Well, I'm going into details.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Look, this particular drive is being pushed by, among others, Dr. David Ndi and other petitioners. Now, they have written to the appeal court president, Daniel Musinga, and they are demanding this extraordinary bench. Now, the suspense, I mentioned 7. They were kind enough to give Justice Musinga an alternative. 7 or 11.
Oh, wow. It gets better.
Yes.
Okay. So you can even have 11 if you like.
I love this for one simple reason. With every move that takes us to court, the citizenry of this country, the population of this country gets to at least have a glimpse, if not a deeper knowledge of how the Constitution actually works. And also how our legal system works. And the extent to which the legal system can actually be to their benefit. So from that perspective, this is a good thing. Which then means, if say for instance it is 7 or 11, okay, and they make a ruling, I am hoping that the matter will then rest. But knowing Kenyans, it won't. The matter will then be taken to the Court of Appeal.
We want 13.
I mean, to the Supreme Court.
We want 13. We
Not
want
13.
15.
You know, the thing about the Supreme Court, you can't ask for more judges to be there. The numbers that are there will be the numbers that
are there. There's not going to be more than that. It will be a final decision as far as that is concerned.
But remember, the moment you have such a court constituted, this isn't just a court of appeal, it's a constitutional court now.
Yes. Okay.
But it means we are actually going to be treated to an in-depth discussion of these matters of the BBI. Yes.
Who would make the decision as to whether then now further courts coming in, or even this particular, even if this
No,
particular,
not president of the country. Remember,
the president of the
court.
yeah,
Yes,
I get it.
Yes.
Of the JSC, but now
no, court. Remember, Maraga, the retired Justice Maraga is the one who constituted this 5-judge bench.
So the CJ would be the one in this case to say if this particular bench would increase in number.
I am not certain whether he is the sole person who's to decide it or the president of the Court of Appeal has a say in it. Okay? But whether it is a discussion that the two of them will have, remember, I am waiting to see. But for me, whatever takes place, it is a good thing because we are seeing the operationalization of our Constitution. And I thank the Almighty that I'm alive to actually see it working. Yes, and I can see it expanding, and I can see the discussions about it taking place.
Okay.
But of interest, I'm waiting to see the impact of it.
All right. There's so much happening and so much I wanted to, at least discuss a little bit. So we're going to take this a little bit further. But right now we're going to take a break and then come back and look at another story taking a bit of a spotlight today. And that is that there could be more variants and for COVID-19 in the country, and so many things happening in line with that. So let's come back and then look at that in a short bit.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. "24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is SpiceFM.
Are you looking for a way to access legal aid services for matters regarding child custody and maintenance, but don't know how or where to begin? Join me, Olivia Otieno, on Double O Direct this Saturday from 10 a.m. for the Lawyers Direct Legal Clinic, a special interactive session where we will be joined by legal professionals to learn about the mandate of the National Legal Aid Service and answer all your questions regarding access to legal aid for child custody and maintenance. That's Double O Direct this Saturday from 10 a.m. on SpiceFM.
What is going on in the country? So, fears of COVID spread as learners take a break. So students are going on holiday, on midterm holidays next week. Parents have raised concerns following the increase in coronavirus cases, even as primary and secondary schools release learners for the first half-term break. The children have been in school for 3 weeks. Primary and secondary schools open for third term on the 10th of May after a 7-week break and are closed on the 16th of July. The 2021 revised academic calendar begins July 26th. Learners will take their break on the 3rd of June and resume on the 7th of June. So one said the 3-day break would expose children to the deadly virus and added that it would be expensive to allow children travel home and back after 3 days. These are dangerous times and steps have been taken to protect children from the disease while in school. Mr. James Mutinda, another parent, said learners wasted a lot of time when schools remained shut for months and that the third term is short. They need to remain at school. So you can imagine those who just got their children to school 3 weeks ago, now you're going to take them home for 3 days and bring them back. And parents are saying, look, it doesn't make sense. The expenses are becoming too high. There's really no break now because they finished the third term. They're going to be home for a week and then they get back into school in July for the first term of the following academic year. It's a jam-packed year. And parents are decrying the expense of traveling within a short period of time. Within no time, you can't breathe and you're taking your children back to school. But, this is one of those things. What are you going to do? COVID made sure that children are out of school for 10 months. We're playing catch up here. And it looks like it's going to be tough times ahead, but it needs to be done. It's either that or children don't go to school. And I don't think the latter is the option right now. It just looks a little bit too difficult to say, okay, let's take a longer break when we have to have children in school right now. Still looking at matters COVID, another story. It looks like Madaraka Day celebrations next week, Tuesday, are going to be low key. The president has said, or rather the government has said Kisumu residents may have hoped to take part in Madaraka Day celebrations at the Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium, but this will only be but this will not only be as only 3,000 invited guests will be inside the facility. Unlike early this week when they welcomed ODM leader Raila Odinga in their thousands, the residents will only follow the proceedings from their homes due to the rising numbers of COVID-19 cases. It will be an anticlimax for the city, which was hoping to see President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila share the podium in the national event taking place in Kisumu for the first time on Tuesday. So government officials prepared for the celebration. The Ministry of Health painted a grim picture of the COVID-19 situation, with statistics showing an upsurge in cases in the lakeside city. Numbers released yesterday by Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe, that one, and Kisumu Governor Anyang' Nyong'o show Kisumu was leading with a number of new coronavirus cases. Of the 341 people tested positive yesterday, Kisumu had 57 cases. Siaya had 36. Mombasa, Kericho, Kirinyaga and Homa Bay followed, with Nyamira on the tail end. Nyanza Regional Commissioner Magu Mutindika and Regional Police Commander Karanja Moirori said security had been beefed up and that uninvited guests would not be allowed in the stadium. So only the 3,000, count them, 1, 2, 3, 2,999, 3,000 will be allowed in the stadium. And the assumption is that there will be social distancing and that everybody within the stadium will be wearing a mask and that nobody else will be allowed to come to the celebrations.
Arrangements have also been made for 2 other spots with huge screens where the Well, actually, the activities will be televised or on those big screens. Yes, they've chosen 2 other huge spots where people can actually congregate.
Yes.
Now, whether they'll be able to maintain all these COVID protocols in those 2 areas
is
a different matter. The stadia, yes, is an enclosed space. One can understand it. Recently refurbished. It's been done up, understandable. And we laud the county of Kisumu and the leadership for taking the time and pains to actually ensure that safety measures are taken at the stadium.
Yes.
But in the other two spots where they will be televising all this, what are the measures that are going to be taken to ensure that the public who will be viewing this thing on these large screens will maintain all the COVID protocols that are required?
You said something interesting a few days ago. I believe it was on Monday, and you said, you know what? Raila Odinga is going to Kisumu for Madaraka Day celebrations. And then you want to tell the residents of Kisumu, do not come out and meet Raila. It will be very, very difficult.
No, not difficult. Impossible.
It's impossible. That they
It's
would-
impossible.
I mean, the other day he just passed by, right? He just passed by and was waving, saying hello. And how many people came to say hello? Now this one is official. They're coming out dressed, regalia, everything. Then you want to tell them, don't come.
Let me tell you something. Whatever you read about, whatever you hear about, make no mistake. Raila Odinga is loved in his backyard. And when he appears, people will throng to just see him. And he knows that when people come to see him, the courteous thing to do is to talk to them.
Yes, and they're
Address
opening stadium.
Yes.
They're opening stadium.
Yes, and the
They're
president
celebrating and the president is coming.
And it's not just Kisumu. The president will also be going to Mbita. The president is actually going to open. There's a causeway that was built in Mbita. All right. To understand this, you need to understand that the island. You see, sometimes traveling around the country is a wonderful thing.
Good.
No, it is a good thing. It is a good thing because it makes you you get to understand certain dynamics. The president come to visit the region.
Yes.
Okay. And the idea is to cap it off with the Madaraka Day celebration.
Right.
Okay. Now, this is a part of the country that for the longest time was considered to have been ostracized. So the issues like any president visiting it,
big deal,
remote to the point of being impossible. Here you have a president who has visited that region many, many times. So the visit is significant. The visit is important.
Folks are going to come out.
My friend, they will come out. The county of Kisumu have their work cut out for them.
Yes, and I think it's in as much as we know that citizens must do everything they can to be careful. I think in this situation that is so peculiar with what you've mentioned now, speaking about Raila Odinga and the love that he holds and that is held for him in this area, looking at that a sitting president has not visited Kisumu in this manner, and that certain developments have not taken place in the last 20 or so years in this region. All of these things...
Longer than 20.
Longer than 20.
Yes.
All of these things culminating in a Madaraka Day event. Taking all of those things into consideration, the county government, security keeping forces have a lot of work cut out for them for next week, Tuesday.
The truth of the matter is they don't actually need the security forces. This is where public participation comes in. Every community has its leaders, be they youth, be they church, be they social leaders, be they opinion leaders, be the opinion shapers. These are leaders. If you want to attain certain things, you have to work with the broad spectrum of leadership that exists within
But you
that
should have
community.
started having that conversation before. And this is my fear.
Yes.
That the conversation has not been had. And then unfortunately, I don't want to be a prophet of doom, but unfortunately what will happen is that you will find that now they're trying to quell crowds and control crowds, and then it will look as if people's civil liberties then were being trampled upon. Because you did not have this conversation earlier with these people who are obviously residents, you know where they are, start to talk about it. It is not last week on Tuesday that we knew the Madaraka Day celebrations would take place in Kisumu. Neither is it last week Tuesday that we knew that the causeway was going to be opened up and the president was going to visit. Neither was it last week Tuesday we knew that the stadium, supposedly completed stadium, then would be opened on the same day. It was a while ago. So even as that was going on, these subsidiary conversations should have been happening as well. Okay. Let's look at one more story before we come to the hour. We're going to do something a little bit different today and probably go into more of these stories past 7 o'clock just to have a look at what's going on, because there's still quite some in terms of the happenings around the world. Okay. Containing COVID-19 is a matter of urgency for a healthier, safer world. And as COVID-19 threatens the health and well-being of everyone, the 74th session of the World Health Assembly that runs from the 24th until the 1st of June is timely. It's happening right now. It stresses the urgent need to deal with the pandemic by building a healthier, safer and fairer world. According to the World Health Organization, over the past year, cases of COVID-19 rose 40-fold. To over 160 million globally, while the number of deaths increased 11 times to more than 3.5 million. COVID-19 has disrupted other healthcare services, leaving communities more vulnerable and at the risk of illness and death from other preventable, treatable and manageable diseases. So we do know that the assembly is running right now, ends on the 1st of June, which is Tuesday, and hopefully the conversations will not just be had, but the action points will actually be implemented. And I think that's one of the things that has faltered a lot of global bodies, is that we have these talks and we have these inspirational moments, but then to see some of these things being carried out country by country seems to be a stick in the mud kind of affair. All right. Officers to serve 7 years in jail for killing woman at City Park. We're going to look at that story when we come back in terms of what is happening with that. City, I want you to tell us what is in the Business Daily, but our time is running out, so maybe...
No, it isn't running out.
We'll do that when we come back, because we literally have the 30 seconds.
Yes. No. Let's... 30 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 30... Let's talk about it after 30 seconds.
We'll look at it when we come back. All right, we're still taking a look at what's happening in our world as is reported in the paper. Still quite some for us to look at and open up. It's coming around to 7 o'clock. We're going to hear what's in the news and then take a look at traffic and come back to you. It's Kenya's biggest conversation. This is the Situation Room. You're in the room this morning with Ndroko and CT Muga. Wherever you are, thank you for joining us. And as we continue, you will join us in these conversations as we open up as to what is happening in the country and indeed around the world. What do you think is one thing that we want you to join us with or join us on this morning? We'll do that in a short while, but for now it is 7 o'clock.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Leaders took advantage of the national prayer breakfast held at Parliament grounds to express their sentiments with regards to challenges the country faces and how best to address them. President Uhuru Kenyatta, on handling the COVID-19 crisis and ensuring Kenyans have access to healthcare, asked both speakers to fasten the bill before them, and which will make it easy for Kenyans to access healthcare easily.
And so today, the only message I have to our two speakers, to the leadership of both the Senate and the National Assembly, there are proposals before you, proposals that will ensure that every Kenyan is able to have access to health insurance, because health insurance is the basis of us being able to offer universal health care. Please expedite the passage of these bits of legislation that will allow us to ensure that our people are properly catered for, not just during times of pandemic as we are, but always. And that is the purpose, access to quality health care.
Deputy President William Ruto on his end said, although Kenya and the world has experienced tough times due to coronavirus, we have managed to have positive instances that should be celebrated.
We've had also, even in the midst of this pandemic, we've had positive things. Courtesy of this administration, the President launched the other day the Lamu Port, amongst many other projects that have been undertaken. We got ourselves a brand new Chief Justice, the first lady ever in Kenya to be Chief Justice. And also our Speaker got an appointment with the elders. And I think it serves him right. After being a Speaker for so long, maybe it's time to be a spokesperson.
He further called on leaders to come together, sit down and talk.
Isaiah 1:18 that says, "Come, let us reason together." Maybe again, God is speaking to us and saying, "Come, let us reason together."
Catholic bishops want the government to respect court orders. They say the courts represent and protect everyone, hence they need to be respected in order to have a functional country.
This is an affront to the independence of the judiciary. So rais wetu mpendwa, usikate tamaa nawe, take courage, face the issues Tunaelewa hata hili jambo la koti limekuvunja moyo, lakini tambua kwamba koti hizi zinamlinda sio tu wewe peke yako, bali hata mwananchi wa kawaida.
On the constitutional amendment process, they say the process should continue after the 2022 elections in order to have an all-inclusive process. The man who stopped President Uhuru Kenyatta's motorcade in Lakisama area in Nairobi says he did that so he could explain his problems to the president. Kefa Nyambane, a father of 3, says that his problems and joblessness led him to stop the president because he had reached a dead end and saw an opportunity he could not pass.
At the end of the day, haufaidiki na umepata golden chance, naona umuelezee chenye unataka. Nilisimamisha rais kuongea na yeye shida zangu, sio ujasiri wa kawaida. Binadamu, nilikuwa nimefika mwisho, niko na school fee huko, talent nimelemewa kulipa, nimejaribu, na huyo ndio second born, hii ni third born. Mwingine hata sister yangu ndiye amechukua.
He hopes that someday he will meet the president and have a conversation with him. This is News Right, Mr. Seto.
SpiceFM, Nakuru. Traffic.
It's building up on Mombasa Road today, and that's what we see. We're going to start with that because affects folks all the way from Cabanas through to General Motors and then out towards the Nyayo Stadium roundabout. Going towards Langata Road as well is building up at the Timor roundabout as you go towards Bagavi Way. We're not a bumper to bumper, guys, but it's all right. Friday promises to look a little bit crazy. Let's just keep moving as much as possible, right? So we're also looking at traffic on Thika Road coming towards the CBD. We're looking at traffic on Uhuru Highway, interestingly enough, all the way from the Nyayo Stadium out towards Westlands. We'll take a look at how it opens up in a short while, but nothing crazy as of yet. We'll take a look at Jogo Road as well coming out shortly. SpiceFMKE on Twitter is how you can get in touch. Text on 40127.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
Indeed, the only way to start your day. Tuned in around the country, 94.4 in Nairobi, 90.9 in Nyeri. Eldoret has us on 96.7, 97.7 in Malindi. If you're just tuning in, this is a Situation Room. It's Kenya's biggest conversation with Ndroko and CT Muga today. We're continuing to look at several stories that are making the news this morning. Quite some to chip through. Before we continue with that, CT with today's proverb.
Right. A rotten potato affects the rest. A Lesotho proverb.
A rotten potato affects the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You asked me to talk about a headline in the Business Daily. Well, it is interesting. The headline, if I may read it, well, there are several headlines, but the headlines. Nginyo Karaoke's daughter's son in 4 billion estate row. This one continues. Billionaire father passed away.
Yeah.
Family issues. Remember, not too long ago, we discussed something similar with reference to the late Joyce Laboso, governor of Kericho, who passed away. Similar angles and how the husband, Juan Edwin Abonyo, had taken a position that ended that particular row with his late wife's family. Okay? But family, siblings, issues. But talking about families, I'd just like to mention this. There are two things. One, the headline in the Star reads one thing. Headline in the Nation reads one thing. But the picture that grabs you is a very delightful occasion where the Deputy President's daughter, whose name from what I can see is June, actually got married.
Yes.
And I dare say the Deputy President is looking very dapper.
You like, eh?
Oh, yes, he's looking dapper and looking happy. His wife is also looking really resplendent in this, in this delightful garment that she's wearing. I thought I would just mention that in passing.
Yeah, actually looks pretty nice.
Fathers,
That's a nice picture.
children, yes, heritage. And of course, if you look at page 3 and 4 of The Nation, then there are pictures of the guests who came for this wedding. Let me just say this. Well, congratulations are in order. But for those who attended, these are momentous moments and these pictures are important.
Yeah.
Because very many of these people, if they're in the political class, let them keep these pictures. Because come 2022, a good number of them will no longer be members of parliament. And such functions will be things that they will be reading just like you and I are reading about.
For them to remember that once they were among.
A lot of what we do in life is often pushed to the realm of memory. Yes. Things that you can look back on and stories you can tell of the days when I was. Okay?
Among.
But, yes. Now, the Business Daily also has in his weekend a man of the news, Daniel Musenga, the gentleman who is now the president of the Court of Appeal. And there's an entire article on him, his background, the bold decision that he has made, his gentle but very steady ascendancy to the position that he's now in. Reputed to be soft-spoken but firm, a man of convictions, and somebody who is very clear about the decisions that he makes when he's sitting on the bench. Yes. So if I am to read what it is that has been said, and if I am to believe it, then this is what I would say. They couldn't have chosen a better individual for this particular post.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Now, remember yesterday when we were talking about a story that made it into the news about the former Wajir governor? Now, governors have rejected Wajir takeover. The Council of Governors have now come together and said, actually, there could be a case here where the power should not be handed over. The Council of Governors has refused to recognize new Wajir County boss Ali Mukhtar, maintaining that impeached Mohammed is still in charge.
Okay, how exactly does this thing that they were reading affect a decision that was made by the Senate? How exactly?
Yeah, and they've come together on this. Have you seen a lot of coming together recently?
You know something? They may very well have a point, okay? They may very well have a point. But let me just say this. It's unfortunate that governors as a group of people, in terms of ranking of how it is that their participation in their jobs has helped the Mwananchi in their counties, optically speaking, it doesn't rank well. Because what we read about, and they'll say it's you in the media. No, not really. We in the media often just report what
has happened.
Yes. They do not represent the individuals who elected them as well as they should. And everything else considered, this is a grouping of people who are feeling threatened. That is my view.
Let me tell you what they said. They, the governors and Mr. Mohammed, addressed the journalists yesterday. They cited a directive by the High Court in Meru that Mr. Mohammed remains in office until the case filed on his removal is heard and determined.
Yes.
Mr. Mukhtar, who until recently was the Wajir deputy governor, did not attend said meeting. Council of Governors Chairman Martin Wambora expressed dissatisfaction with the manner Mr. Mohammed was removed from office. The council notes the orders by the High Court that reaffirm the position of Wajir Governor Mohammed. His case is to be affirmed by the Court of Appeal, according to Mr. Wambora. So what they're saying is, until this case is heard and cleared at the court, according to the directive from the court, Mohammed should remain in office as the county governor. So the impeachment notwithstanding, he must retain his position in office. Once the case is heard and is determined, then you will know whether he will leave or whether he will continue. So then the deputy governor Mukhtar coming in and taking the position, then It's not right. Circus.
It's not even a circus. It is, remember, if you were in Mr. Wambora's position and you are supposed to be the official spokesperson
For the COG.
Yes, exactly. And you have a position as the head of this COG. What else are you expected to actually say? You can't condemn a fellow governor.
Of course not.
And he has a point. There is a court case. He is right. But unfortunately, it's crying wolf.
The court case or this this latest move.
Yes, unfortunately. With all the merits that what they're saying has, this particular group of people do not stand out as the people who, when you think of somebody who fights for the so-called common person, the Mwananchi, they don't stand out. In my mind, I don't see them as such. I see them as people who will support their own. And unfortunately, in good and in evil, they will support their own. This is how I see that.
So this one doesn't really tug at the heartstrings when you see that, okay, maybe they're fighting for some cause of justice or something. Not really. Because it's just you. It's actually you showing this kind of allegiance, but then also kind of like, I'm going to scratch your back in the moment because there will come a time where I'll need you to scratch mine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And remember, this particular individual, Mr. Wambora, he's had a terrible go at it with his MCAs. Oh, yes, he's been before the Senate twice. Yes.
And still surviving.
Yes, he has survived. And it's those court rulings that got him to survive.
Yeah.
Please understand that.
The appeals and the
He has
determination.
gone through this. So there's an understanding of these cases that he has that perhaps is better than most of us, at least better than mine.
Yeah.
But that doesn't cleanse that particular group of individuals.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No.
It doesn't.
Okay. So, I couldn't recognize Ryla. This is Wako on his battle with coronavirus. It's an interesting what he says there about how hard it hit him when he had COVID-19. And just remembering that a lot of the leaders, quite a number of people have gotten this virus, even at a time where the experts are telling us that what they are finding now could point to yet another strain of COVID-19 present in the country. But they have to continue with the investigations on that to see what happens. All right, I want to tell you about Kenya on high alert as 13 killed in an Al-Shabaab attack. Kenya is on high alert after 13 people, including 10 security officers, lost their lives in attacks by Somalia-based Al-Shabaab militants. Last week, 7 Kenya Defense Forces soldiers died after their vehicle ran over an improvised explosive device on the Baure area of Lamu along the Bode-Kiunga Road. So, security agents have asked for and initiated heightened surveillance in Lamu, Mandera, and Garissa over possible terror attacks. So this thing is still alive. All right, we're going to take a break now and come back in a short while. But I want to remind you, it is May 28th, and so it's Menstrual Hygiene Day. The importance of having access to menstrual care products and the right information on menstrual hygiene. Courtesy of Kasha, it's a women's health and self-care e-commerce platform that provides products and accurate information. Every woman can access this information so that they can have a true shot at living their best life. Kasha is running an amazing campaign. It's called Break the Cycle, and it aims to end period poverty by encouraging us to raise awareness and change negative social norms about menstrual care. So they've gone the extra mile and they've buddied up with Heals for Pads, the foundation, and are calling out on you and me to donate sanitary towels, pads, and give every woman a chance to experience proper menstrual hygiene. How can you do that? Donate on their website, www.kasha.co.ke/break the cycle, and help us break the cycle.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice. (24/7) around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
A as the Kenyans are roared into the home straight here. 4 Kenyan queens have lit up this balmy Bahamian night.
It's where the rivalry is unmatched, where the soul meets the track, where the great are distinguished from the good. An arena where the records are broken.
A new world record. It's not just been beaten, it's been obliterated.
A stage where the legends are born. For Team Kenya, the Olympics is more than just a sport. It is our tradition. It's an event that has put Kenya on the roadmap. The Standard Group lets you watch every minute and every action live in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, because we live for Team Kenya. We live
Mostly cloudy
for
conditions in Nairobi at 15 degrees, highs of 24 and lows of 15 today. It's raining lightly in Nyeri at 15, highs of 22. We'll see highs of 27 in Nakuru. It's mostly cloudy at 14. Sunny conditions in Eldoret at 12, highs of 24. Highs of 28 in Kisumu, where it's mostly sunny at 19. Mostly cloudy conditions in Kakamega at 17 degrees, highs of 28. We're looking at light rain in Mombasa at 30. That will be the high. 24 currently, coming down to lows of 23. It's raining slightly in Malindi at 25, highs of 30 and lows of 26. Mostly sunny conditions at 20 in Kampala, highs of 27 and lows of 17. We'll see highs of 30 in Dar es Salaam today. It's sunny at 21. Clear conditions in Johannesburg, warming up just a little bit with highs of 21 and lows of 7. 32 will be the high in Lagos, where it's raining as well at 26. And for now, Kinshasa is clear at 23, highs of 34 and back down to lows of 24.
SpiceFM, Nyeri.
There are so many people peddling what is false, and that it bears remarkable resemblance to what is true.
Politicians have their agenda, and their agenda is to use every opportunity to sell that agenda and to loot this nation.
I have seen major strides that are done in this country when we talk to each other as against talking at each other.
We start getting back into the tribal cocoons which were put to us by the colonial powers. You know, they gave us physical freedom but not mental freedom. We're still mentally colonized today into these cocoons of tribe.
Now, if you live in an area where it's difficult to find a dog,
he's a goat. I kid you not.
In which part of this country is it difficult to find a dog? So that you resort. Afande hii umbo yako iko na pembe.
Hii ni umba special.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
Okay, are you tuning in to the Situation Room this morning? I am glad to see more and more folks online today on Spice FM KE. Thanks for joining us, and we continue looking at what's going on. In a short bit, we're going to come and discuss prayer and spirituality in the country as concerns politics. But before that, we continue looking at what's going on in the news today. Okay, so there's an irony is what the nation is calling it today. As agriculture, the country's economic backbone, is blamed for making counties poor. More than half of the counties collected less than 400 million shillings. Poor performers relied 90% on agriculture. Okay, despite for long being touted as the backbone of the economy, agriculture is now being cited as a contributor to poor revenue collection in the counties over the past 6 years. A report authored by the Commission on Revenue Allocation, it blames the sector for poor performance in its own revenue collection in the counties since the onset of devolution. It links counties' over-reliance on agriculture to revenue underperformance. The report is a damning indictment on county governments, which, because of poor collection of revenues, will continue depending on disbursements from the National Treasury, with the attendant delays and crippling financial crises. It was titled Taking Stock of Counties' Own Source Revenue, performance between 2013 and 2019. That reveals that more than half of the 47 counties collected an average of less than 400 million shillings over the period 2013 to 2019. more than half of 47 counties collected less than 400 million shillings from agriculture in 6 years. It further observes that counties with poor revenue performance rely on agriculture by up to 90%. Agriculture is the mainstay for counties that collect OSR of less than 200 million shillings annually. The revenue streams available for these counties to collect from agriculture are land rates, produce, and livestock cess. Cess accounts for only 3% of county revenues, making the collection capacity of these counties limited.
You know, one of the things that the Commission on Revenue Allocation and together with the Kenya Association of Manufacturers did at the onset of the creation and the operationalization of our counties was to get all the counties in this country and talk to those who headed the assemblies to understand that part of the process of ensuring that you can collect revenue is to create legislation that will enable you to do this. To look at the legislation that existed within the local government systems, but more specifically, look at legislation that is pertinent to the specific area. For instance, if I am in Mombasa, why would I want a legislation that deals with camels? We don't have camels in Mombasa, and if we do, they aren't that many to be an economic factor.
No.
If I was in Kakamega, why would I be talking of cashew nuts? Cashew nuts don't grow in that particular area. Meaning, an entire process took place where people who are in the commercial industrial sector help fund these processes so that they could deal with issues of, crossing borders, ensuring that you tax, all these things. Now, if you read anything that has to do with MCAs, what they're known for is getting governors out of office.
Yes.
But it's the thing that stands out. But you don't hear of landmark legislation that certain counties have made to ensure that processes such as revenue collection actually take place so that even in the absence of monies from the government, you can talk about their contribution to that pot of revenue based on what they can collect or what they can spur and what they can encourage within the economies so that the economies are vibrant. One doesn't hear of it. It's a failure on the part of the legislature in our counties.
But you know, the thing is, there still is an over-reliance, over-dependence on the national government for revenue within the counties.
Over-dependence.
It's the only
absolute dependence.
It's absolute dependence, and that's not the way it should be. I think, look, own source revenue. This conversation has been in this arena forever.
No, it's not taken seriously.
It's not taken seriously. It just sounds like something fancy to say. Own source revenue. You know, we're looking at avenues for own source revenue. How long can you look, my friend? You don't look for it. It's not hiding somewhere under a corner. You actually must create these avenues for own source revenue. You have to. Because look at the things that we're talking. Yesterday, what did we talk about? We talked about the Ministry of Defense doing what? Trying to look at commercial outlets, trying to look at other sources of revenue. Why are they doing that? Because as we go along, the resources are getting slimmer and slimmer, and people are having to think that way. Now, here you are running a county, and you are solely dependent on the national government. Own source revenue is not just something that you write down in a report every 4 or so years. It's actually something that you must pursue, enact, establish, and implement. It needs to be done. That you can have a county that, if not just for some contributions that are made from national government, should actually be able to run on its own. And it cannot just be collections for garbage and parking services. You have to be able to do better than that.
You see,
look at some but look at some states in the US, for example. New York, the state of New York, its economy alone has a larger GDP by 4 of some African countries. Why? It's not federal funds. The federal government, yes, does contribute to the New York State kitty, but how many things are running in that state that are creating their own revenue for them to be able to run on? From social amenities to federal amenities, education, commerce. But what are we talking about?
Well, it's because
not impossible.
The people who are charged with the responsibility of these activities, and even their own legislature, their councilmen and women, their congressmen and women, They understand this. The governor and the officers, they understand this. They understand the need for them to enjoy and to ensure that this capacity of independence that they have is truly beneficial to their people. In our case, the independence is something people talk about, but what they actually cherish is the dependency that they have on the national government.
Yes. It's a
Yes.
fallback plan.
There is
that won't
very
fail.
little that you see that is actually done to show you that the activities that the governor and his officials are engaged in to ensure that their unit, their county, is actually moving towards being an economic powerhouse. One sees very little of that. Very, very little of it.
But why?
Well, it's very simple. You know, when you talk about own source revenue, what I was going to say earlier on was that term I find is almost poetic, but negatively so. Own source revenue seems to mean it's an opportunity for people who work in the system
To have their own source of revenue.
Thank you. You've got you've understood me perfectly. That's how they see it.
Own source revenue
Yes.
is my own.
Yes. So essentially, they are employed within the county, but what they see themselves as are entrepreneurs within the county system.
Yeah.
It's something that we in the media have been accused of, that you think that you have journalists, media people, but you have actually media entrepreneurs, where somebody works within the system, but they look for their own clients, they
Right.
look for ways of doing things that will benefit them directly. This is what you see happening within the counties. These people actually look at this entire enterprise as a setup where they themselves individually and their cronies can benefit, not for that particular entity called the county to benefit. That is a far cry from what they see. In fact, it is completely far removed from any reality that even features in their minds. And that is why you don't see county assemblies taking the time and the pain to focus on perhaps legislating things that would guarantee that these entities that we call counties become profitable entities.
Okay, no, we have to talk about this just a little bit more, but it's coming around to 7:30. We're going to take a break. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. It is the Situation Room. We'll be back in a bit.
Have you seen them? Am I lying?
Yes, it's a very nice outfit, I must say. Good
Thank
job.
you. Asante sana.
The compliment is well received.
Good morning and thank you. Everyone in Wasingishu was asking me what channel is SpiceFM.
96.7. Tell them that, right?
Yes, now they know.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have
What
you.
a beautiful studio, my friend.
I've been to other radio stations, but I've never seen anything like this.
Thank you, and it's very nice to be in a modern studio. Absolutely brilliant.
And I have to say, it's a very cool ambiance here in your radio room. Just for our listeners, I think it is below zero in this room here. Very Swiss temperatures.
"24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
"24 teams, 12 host cities, 6 groups, all battling for one trophy. The long-awaited Euro 2020 is here at last upon us. The fans might not be within touching distance,
Good cross, Giroud attacks it and scores in front of it!
but the atmosphere will only get to a fever pitch. From the 11th of June to the 11th of July, catch the tackles, the goals, and all your favorite football stars as the elite European nations go head-to-head. The Standard Group brings you the UEFA Euro 2020 tournament live across our channel. As the official UEFA Euro 2020 free-to-air broadcast partner in Kenya.
There was an accident this morning right about 6:30 on the Eastern Bypass just before Kamakis headed towards Thika Road. Hoping that has been cleared because it caused some traffic this morning and it was a bit serious. It's still causing some traffic. Hopefully that has been removed, but we're just going to have to wait and see. All right. We also see that the NMS, with a little or no warning, is to test the Green Park terminus again again today. So please plan accordingly. So this means that if you're coming in and out of the CBD, you will not alight at railways. You will alight at the Green Park terminus, and you will also pick your vehicles from there. So please remember that. It could affect your travails this morning, so keep that in mind. It's not railways, it's Green Park, and they're testing this again to see how well this will work. Okay, Bunyala is still closed. We had been told that it would be open around this time. We still have not received any communication just yet. In the meantime, you need to sit tight and use the longer route. It'll keep you, I think, sane at least. All right, coming off Mombasa Road, we see that traffic. We see it. Hopefully it will be dissipating in a short while. Jogo Road as well, into and out of the CBD for some reason today, is jam-packed. We keep an eye on things. Industrial area also coming onto Mombasa Road is something to watch. Talk to us, guys. Where are you stuck? Where have you found a good route? Share SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text on 40127.
Miaka 20 safari anza ya kutuunganisha kama Wakenya. Twende tukiuke, twende tukiuke. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Let's go beyond. Mimi na wewe tukibuni kazi nzuri ya kujivunia. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Kwa juhudi na matumaini, twaelekea kesho pamoja. Twende tukiuke, twende tukiuke. Safaricom.
Tengesa kidole, tengesa kidole, agano kidole, agano kidole, agano. Thank you.
The political class, the contestants, everybody is trying to outsteal the other.
Remorse is not taught in any school. Manners is something you get from your mother. You don't get it from your political party.
Why are we so unfocused as a country? Why are we spending money and resources, yet we have real challenges in this country?
This coronavirus pandemic should teach us one thing, that universal healthcare is critical. Because at this point, whether you have a medical card that covers you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Home in a Happen, a Safaricom Home Fiber. Stream movies non-stop at home with the best fiber internet speeds in Kenya. Dial star 400 hash and get connected
Star
today.
400 hash. Those are the lucky numbers to remember. Home in a Happen na Safaricom. Definitely it is happening with Safaricom Home Fiber. So we're looking at times where it's been, you have to work or, attend classes from a particular place. And Safaricom looking at all of this and saying, you know what, we understand this. And how can we make it easier for folks then to be able to attend online classes, to attend meetings while you're sitting at home, and then at the same time on the other end of things to enjoy your entertainment. We're going to be opening this up just a little bit in a short while, but just to say, look, it is clear that a stable internet connection is needed. You need to be able to stream, you need to be able to attend your meetings, you need to be able to attend your classes without disruptions. And the packages that Safaricom have come up with are actually pretty great. 2,900 shillings will get you 8 Mbps per month in what is the bronze package of Safaricom Home Fiber. It allows you to do all these things across board. And CT is going to be giving us his experience later on, and in terms of his decision to maybe go this way, but maybe I'm leaning in that. I'm looking at you like this, but we'll talk about it later.
Leaning in that direction, you're actually leaning on me.
You see, there's a song. There's a song.
Yes, lean on me.
Yes, so I'm leaning on you, Safaricom Home Fiber.
That was a pleasant aspect of lean on me. You are actually threatening me, but I welcome the threat, and it's a good threat.
Star 400 hash.
It'll benefit my life.
It will.
Yes.
Star 400 hash. We also want to be able to award someone today with 3,000 shillings worth of Safaricom airtime. Show us that you have a need for Safaricom Home Fiber. Take a screenshot of your intent to subscribe for 2,900 shillings to the bronze package, or show us that you will renew your subscription to the same. Send a screenshot to our social media handles, SpiceFM KE, on Twitter and on YouTube today, and we'll be awarding somebody with 3,000 shillings Safaricom airtime home in a happen.
Home in a Happen, a Safaricom Home Fiber. Stream movies non-stop at home with the best fiber internet speeds in Kenya. Dial star 400 hash and get connected today.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
It is Kenya's biggest conversation. Nduoko and CT Muga with you this morning, and we're looking at this issue of own source revenue for devolved government. And we're looking at counties, 47 of them. And right now, from what we see, yesterday there was this discussion about own source revenue and the plans towards that. But interestingly enough, it's not the first discussion we've heard. It's not the first time that they've come together and said, well, yes, we are looking at issues of own source revenue and things like that, because we cannot continue to be so heavily reliant on the national government and the treasury to give us the money that we need to run the counties. Right now, the running of the counties is the sole responsibility or the sole expectation of the National Treasury. You give us, we operate. You don't give us, we don't. The length and breadth of the creativity that right now county governments have in running their counties is taking overdrafts when the money from the National Treasury has delayed. That's it. Or collecting parking fees or collecting license fees and things like that. Unless I do not know, unless there is a county that is doing something in terms of creative revenue collection or creative revenue ideas, that is it. That devolved governments right now in their running are only taking money from the National Treasury and license and park fees within their counties.
You know, if you look at the county governments and look at them just as they are stated, a government, governments are instituted to provide services. They are not necessarily business entities. However, they have a huge role and a capacity to create an enabling environment within which business can be conducted. Now, this involves inviting investors and ensuring that you provide investors with the sort of playing field within which they will feel comfortable to do business with you.
Right.
Okay? These are business people. They will know what to do. That's all that is required. But even if we leave that aside, if you're talking about own source revenue, and we leave the pun that was definitely and deliberately intended, and you ask yourself how it is, all these governments will talk about moving towards operationalizing a system that is digitalized, one that is transparent. That is as far as it goes.
Sounds really fancy.
It is interesting just to show that you are upping your game to play in the field of people who are considered serious. But the actual operationalization of this very rarely takes place. And that's where the pun comes in. You set up a system for collecting something as basic as parking fees. That basic. It becomes a source, because whether you digitalize it, whether you have a system through which people can pay, but you'll still hemorrhage, because the process and the culture of people ensuring that they enrich themselves from this, putting a stop to it isn't taken seriously. You institute a process and you say, we've solved the problem. You haven't. Because you will find that what is actually collected is a pale shadow of what can be collected. How many of these counties, for instance, do you know of who have taken the time and the pain to actually even institute a research project that determines the capacity of revenue that they all have in all the sectors? Because when you're collecting revenue and you don't even know what it is you can expect, what are you collecting?
What are you collecting it for?
Yes. Do you even have an idea of what it is that you ought to collect? So when you say we collected $1 billion, okay, $1 billion as opposed to
As opposed to?
Yes.
Yeah. And from what?
Yes.
And these places where you're collecting this 1 billion, is it possible that they have the capacity to give you more while not
Yes.
necessarily
Yes.
depressing the source?
Yes.
Is it possible that you can actually achieve more
Yes.
from this? Or you're saying, oh, well, we'll collect 1 billion and that's just about the size of it. You can do more.
And
that's
if you
that's
can-
my bone of contention is that this do more, this achieve more,
Yes.
this create more, not even create more, this create is not happening. Or is it a straight jacket approach that is being looked at from the county level to say, okay, well, you know what? The way in which it was prescribed is, okay, so that there are certain entities which will give us license fees, they'll give us parking fees, and the bulk of this money will come from national government. That's it. I'm not thinking beyond that.
You see, the other day, we had a guest in the studio, and I liked that guest for, among other things, introducing to us terminology that, a simple word that actually explains so many things. Remember the term that one Mr. Muluka introduced us to?
Prebendalism.
Yes, exactly. Cronism, clientism. You will find that, yes, you follow the procedure of making sure it's a public tender, people apply. But within that process, there's a predetermination of who's going to get it. And the predetermination often has nothing to do with the person's capacity to actually do the work. It's their capacity to ensure that they spread the spoils. Now, there has been a change in our legislation with this regard.
Yep.
See, previously, the companies that were given this work would keep the money, either find a way of either putting it in an escrow account where, again, they have access to it, but legislation has changed that. You collect money, it goes to the treasury, direct. Now, if it goes directly to treasury, it means you actually don't have direct access to it. It isn't in a bank account that you control. Now, what unfortunately then happens is that you open up this to the sort of vandalism that we see. So now the incentive to actually collect the money and put it in an account has gone. So treasury gets less and less money. More and more money remains in the hands of the people who are tasked with actually ensuring that this revenue is collected.
It's collected.
Yes, they will ensure. Yes, money goes to the treasury, but a good portion of it remains in their hands. So when I joked about own source revenue, instead of it, what has happened is that the own source revenue, as in money remaining in the hands of those who actually won the tender, is greater. So what do you think happens? The county gets less and less and less. And the capacity of the county, why don't I give an example? Of
Please.
There's something that has pained me for the longest time. And this is with reference to Kilifi County. Forget the blue economy. For the longest time, one of the things that Kilifi County was known for was the growing of cashew nuts. There was even a factory, a parastatal. And farmers benefited from this. You hear whispers of it.
Of what once was.
Yes, you hear whispers of it. Now, if you look around the country, you will find that there were certain cash crops that these particular counties prided themselves in, whether it is coffee, whether it is tea. But you will find that there's been an introduction of new cash crops, avocados, bananas, in different parts of the county. Why is this? Because those who are involved in this have found that it is more profitable for them to pursue certain avenues because the county governments that could have helped spur the development and the growth of these particular aspects of the economy haven't done so. Because ask yourself a very simple question. What do you see as a traditional cash crop, a traditional way of doing business in our counties that has been encouraged and grown? If you see it, then you will find that the livelihood of the individuals who are there have actually increased. Do you see the county government involving the private sector to help these industries grow? There's little talk of it. The actualization of it, one hardly sees it.
We have county, okay, I mean, just look at, you want to call it like a rudimentary approach to looking at this thing, but just coming off the cuff of what you've just said. If you have a county that has something that they're known for,
yes.
Let's just take a cash crop, for example, that grows in, okay, let's use the cashew nuts that we're talking about in Kilifi County. If you don't see that this particular crop has benefited the people, that somebody has said, okay, yeah, because I farm cashew, because I am then now working in the production of cashew, or I sell cashew, because of this, I've been able to do 1, 2, 3 things, and I'm able to stand on a sturdy livelihood. If you don't see such cases, then can you equate it to saying that the county has actually failed to harness the potential that this crop has to be able to help the residents of the county and the county itself stand?
Failed dismally, because it's not as though people still don't grow cashew nuts. They do.
They do, but you don't see it on the. You don't see it out there.
The proverbial middleman and the person who knows how to benefit from this still benefits from it. But the mwananchi in that particular county who benefited when there was a factory and it was structured in a way that it was, doesn't. We talked about the blue economy in Lamu, and we talked about this swanking new port that we have.
Yes.
But we also talked about the fishing and the landing ports that very many fishermen lost with the creation of this particular port. We also talked about the reimbursement that the government promised them would happen before this thing was actually launched.
Yeah.
And we also talked about it not having happened. So when you then talk about the Lamu County, and you talked about the governor and his people, you have to ask the question, okay, you get money every year. In the time that this money has come in, what have you done with this resource called the blue economy? Because you have it in plenty in that particular county. What have you done to ensure that your population who rely on this have benefited or have grown? Because they should have. Do you hear of growth in cold storage? No. Do you hear of processing of the processing plants in that particular region? No. And you ask the same question of the counties of Homa Bay, Kisumu, Siaya, who have the
water bodies.
Yes, they do. Do you hear of it? The answer is no. So, when you talk about the counties taking a position in which the citizenry can benefit from a natural resource that they have, what on earth have you done?
Then it should be no surprise that you have own source revenue issues.
Yes, you do.
Because you're not even considering it. Okay. You're considering it, but not for the livelihoods of the people. It should be of no surprise.
You know, a passing thought is not a consideration.
No, it isn't.
Yes. And public discussions about it at press conferences is not a life-changing event. It is just that an event, it is said and then it is lost. The things that fail our ears, the things we hear about every so often is the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. We hear of the Auditor General and queries of monies, and the monies are mind-boggling amounts that seem to have been spent, and yet one doesn't understand how it is and what it is that they were done for. Monies which, if you have any basic understanding of something called investment, monies that could have been used to spur on the activities that we are speaking about, that would then make it possible for these revenues we speak of to be enhanced. So the collection of revenue then becomes the collection of large amounts of revenue.
Right.
Whereas we have a situation where the collection is of diminishing amounts and constantly diminishing. And it's not that the revenues, even in its diminished form, don't exist. No. The revenue that eventually goes towards the government coffers is what is diminished. But the revenue that are collected and gets into the pockets of individuals who are involved in collecting them keeps growing. That really is the reality.
That is the reality. It's 10 minutes to 8 o'clock. This is the Situation Room. It's Kenya's biggest conversation. We'll take a break now, come back and continue with this conversation. Nduoko and CT Muga in the studio with us, actually with you today.
SpiceFM. Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Nduoko and CT Muga with you, and we're looking at, these conversations on own source revenue, and the counties seem to be struggling in terms of what comes in that allows them to then run the counties at a minimum. We're not even talking about profitably. We're not even talking about, that you can then have something that you can use for then further development projects in the county. We're just saying to run at a minimum. Oftentimes we hear of governors complaining that, what has come from the National Treasury is for the last 3 months. It has taken care of the last 3 months and has not taken care of the current situation. What would it take to just be a little bit creative to make sure that you're having extra funds into the county system, to say that you don't have to necessarily always wait for the National Treasury to do its thing for you to have the funds that you need to then operate? And I do see a failure on the part of the county bosses and those that they run it with, that there needs to be something that is done. Own source revenue will continue to be a myth. It will continue to be this grey thing that's spoken about, but is actually never enacted. And it needs to happen. Because the devolved system, as I look at it, is very close to the federal system, whereby each state runs its own thing. Yes, indeed, with its own contribution from the national government, but then also the responsibility then which lies on your shoulders to be able to do something for your residents, for your people.
Do you take an example of something very simple? A commodity that our counties have in varying abundance, okay? Water. Now, you may not think so, but water also creates revenue. So you would assume that the simple logic would be ensure that everybody has tapped water and ensure that you have meters to determine how much it is of this water that people consume. It is a necessity. Water isn't a luxury. It's a necessity.
It is.
So if you provide water to all your citizens, then it means you can collect money from all your citizens. Okay? Now, this water, it's not something that you create. You just need to find it where it exists. It's a natural resource.
And then make it available for everybody.
Yes. Now, what then do you find? There's an inadequate supply of it. And yet, it's a resource that is available. It's a resource from which you can actually garner what? Revenue. All you need to do is to make sure that people have it, and then you put in place a system that guarantees that you can tap and understand what is used, and then you collect your revenue. Not complicated.
Not complicated. Let's hear from Ed this morning. Ed, good morning. How are you doing?
Morning to you. How are you doing, guys?
Very well. And yourself, sir?
Actually, CT has just read my mind because I was to ask about water. For example, look at this. For example, Murang'a County provides Nairobi County with water, right?
Yes.
That's a good resource, but I stand to be corrected, but I don't think that Murang'a County really earns from providing water to Nairobi County.
And they should. They should.
And then, something else, look at it. For example, in Nyeri County, we have many quarries over here.
Yes.
Which can provide good marram for the roads. But you find that the county is outsourcing tenders from Sijui where, yet they have ways of trying to of getting money from something as simple as what we have, natural resources. Look at this, Bona City. It has always been a menace. Garbage in every county has always been a menace. Yet, there's no county which has ever thought that they need a garbage processing plant, no matter how many billions it's going to cost. They collect the garbage, and then as they package them, if it's the plastic bottles, they resell them to the companies that are there, and they get money. They've never thought of that.
Ed, let me give you an example of something about resources. If you look at some of these countries in the Middle East, they're predominantly desert, okay?
Yes.
We think of tourism, we think of beaches and wildlife. Do you know that many of those countries in the Middle East have a tourism industry that is based on the desert?
Yeah.
You have desert tours.
Yep.
You have all sorts of things that happen within the desert. And people go and enjoy in the desert. It's a resource.
Yes.
We also have deserts here. And as far as we are concerned, it's wasteland. Surely. It is not wasteland.
Actually,
all right?
Sorry to quip in, but let me correct you on this.
Yes.
We have deserts. But they are used by the government to get funding because what we're going
it's arid land.
That's a cash cow for the government to get funds. So hiyo hata nayo kwanza ikae hivyo. Yes.
All right. Well, thanks, Ed, for your contributions this morning. Have a good day, man. So it should be a point of concern or worrying that the opportunities exist for something to be done to take care of these perennial problems that the devolved system faces, that counties face. But then there is a heavy reluctance or even absolute denial of these opportunities and a refusal to actually do something about it.
Remember the discussion that was brought about by the Minister for Tourism about privatizing some of our game parks?
Yes, yes.
Then we brought in the story of conservancies. If you understand how conservancies work, conservancies are owned by the communities that have this resource at their disposal.
Yes.
Look at the PPP, the private-public partnerships. You come in and invest, but you have an understanding with that community. So the community benefits directly as you do. Now, we see it working. It actually works. And you even see the changes that come about in these communities as a result of these partnerships that exist. You see it. This country has examples galore. You then have these development authorities right across the country. What they're supposed to do is to spur this development within the specific regions that exist, taking into account the unique opportunities and the unique resources that each of these particular regions have.
And I think it's knowing them, and it may sound like, how do you say that a county boss doesn't know the resources that are available?
They
but
do.
They do.
They do.
But it's just it's a refusal to do something about it.
They do.
Look across the counties from 1 to 47. Everyone has its unique thing that can actually be exploited, and can be used
Exploited.
Exploited, yes, exploited to actually be of benefit to the county and the people who live there. It is very possible to do. That's all we see happening in the rest of the world, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, look at, and again, I'm going to go to the United States because probably it's that has one of the most glaring examples. Whether you want to look at California with its gold, whether you want to look at in the Midwest with Idaho and its potatoes and its vast farmland and what they're able to do, they're known for these things. Why are they known for them? Because those who sit in positions of authority have decided, okay, there's this thing that sits here. We can actually do something with it and not just wait for the federal government, but as state governments, there's actually something we can do. It is not a bad idea. It is not a bad example to adopt. It really is not. And then we get away from these perennial problems. I mean, it's a shame. A county government has not paid its people for the last 3 months, has not received revenue, doesn't know what to do. And there are options. And, if there was no option, then I would say, okay. But there are options, but we're just choosing not to do anything about them.
They will tell you there's 153 billion shillings that the Treasury is supposed to have disbursed.
And it has not come.
To the counties. And yet you ask yourself, surely, if your own source revenue collection, enhancement first of all, and then collection was a priority, would the discussion not be different?
It would definitely be different. We're coming around to 8 o'clock. This is the Situation Room. It's Kenya's biggest conversation.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
This is Nizwa. I'm Denisa Seto. How desperate can you get that the only solution you have is to risk your life just so your problems can be addressed? This is the story of one Kefa Nyambani who says that he had to stop the president in Lakisama so he could explain his problems to him.
At the end of the day, haufaidiki na umepata golden chance, naona umuelezea chenye unataka. Nilisimamisha rais kuongea na yeye shida zangu, sio ujasiri wa kawaida. Binadamu, nilikuwa nimefika mwisho, niko na school fee huko, talent nimelemewa kulipa, nimejaribu na huyo ndio second born, hii ni third born. Mwingine hata sister yangu ndiye amechukua. Nashukuru Mungu, hata niliona wajeshi wako wanakuja, lakini akasema waachane huyu kijana, na akaniambia kijana, tutaongea.
He hopes that someday he will meet the president and have that conversation with him. Deputy President William Ruto was the only speaker who pulled political jibes at a solemn sitting where all speakers tried as much as possible to keep off political undertones.
We've had also, even in the midst of this pandemic, we've had positive things, courtesy of the this administration, the president launched the other day the Lamu port, amongst many other projects that have been undertaken. We got ourselves a brand new Chief Justice, the first lady ever in Kenya to be Chief Justice. And also our Speaker got an appointment with the elders. And I think it serves him right. After being a Speaker for so long, maybe it's time to be a spokesperson.
Meanwhile, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi, on the other hand, asked Kenyans to never lose hope, further urging leaders to serve and bring honor to the offices they hold.
It is my plea to all of us as Kenyans that in this very challenging time we find ourselves just like Prophet Habakkuk, we do not lose hope but look up to God for help at all time. I take this opportunity to implore and encourage readers to recognize the privileged positions in which God has placed us and to execute our responsibilities in so just and faithful manner as to bring honor to the offices we hold and glory to God.
2 houses were torched and several people injured after a group of youth from Ofunyu area reportedly attacked residents of the nearby Otera village in Kisumu County. This was in retaliation to a recent incident where a middle-aged man and his girlfriend from Ofunyu were attacked in Otera. The said man reportedly succumbed to his injuries following the attack, eliciting the anger of his peers in Ofunyu. And Elvis Rupia scored the winner as AFC Leopards edged Mathare United 1-0 to go level on 36 points with FKF Premier League leaders KCB FC. Rupia, who had failed to find the back of the net in his last 3 matches, collected a splendid pass outside the box before dispatching it beyond goalkeeper Jobo Chien. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
Okay, so yes, it's that Friday and we still see some traffic building up quite some and moving very slowly on Mombasa Road. In and outbound, interestingly enough, not too clear on Thika Road either, going towards the Pangani underpass, out towards Muthaiga Square. And we see some traffic as well on Langata Road. It has started already and really early for that matter. Hopefully it will not be too bad. So as you exit the southern bypass and get onto Langata Road, you're going to be stuck for some time. It's moving slowly, not at a bumper to bumper just yet, but it's likely to do that in no time now. All right, what else are we looking at? We are looking at traffic coming out of Gong Road, headed towards the City Mortuary roundabout, going towards Arwings Kodek and then down Kenyatta Avenue into the CBD. That's connecting with traffic that's coming on Uhuru Highway. So everywhere you look, there's some pockets of traffic here and there. Looking out west towards Naivasha, out towards Nakuru and into Kisumu, not much being reported today. Folks are going along their merry way without too much drama. Hopefully we can keep the drama down in Nairobi as well. Mombasa is also looking pretty good if we're looking out east. So it's that Friday. Hopefully it doesn't get to a manic situation. Talk to us, won't you, on SpiceFMKE on Twitter. Let's also chat on text on 40127. Are you stuck somewhere? Let us know. You find a good route? Let us know that as well, and we'll share. It's Friday morning, the 28th of May. We want to keep things moving this morning, and we ask you to help us out to do just that.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
All right, tuned in across the country in Nairobi, 94.4. We're in Nyeri, Kisumu, 102.5 and 97.9 in Malindi. The live streams are up as well, following the Situation Room on SpiceFM KE on Twitter and YouTube. For those folks who are having some issues trying to get in touch on Facebook, that issue is still being sorted out. So we will get back on Facebook as soon as possible. So that is currently being worked on. And happy Friday to our audience on KTN Home. Your radio experience on TV starts now at 6 minutes past 8 o'clock. Karibuni Sana. We're getting into the third hour of... Yes, we're getting into the third hour of the Situation Room. Nduoko and Siti Muga in the room with you this morning. As we kick the conversation off for the 8 o'clock hour, let's start it off with proverb, Siti.
A rotten potato affects the rest.
A rotten potato affects rest as well.
You know,
I know you said the rest, but it also affects rest.
Yes, it does. But you know the thing that I think caught my attention with this particular proverb, as I was thinking about it, when you talk about bad influence, to put it very simply, you talk about the optics of it, you talk about the immediate negative influence. But these things are generational, no? Yes. Generational in that it starts off as something very almost innocuous. You don't even give it consideration. But like now when we talk about impunity, this is the full-blown effect of something that began a long time ago. The consequences are now being brought to bear now. Okay? On the plus side, what was the agitation for multipartyism brought about a new constitution. And we are now having a debate about how to operationalize it and how it can benefit Kenyans. Again, generational. It began many people who started this journey have died. They're not even alive. We're going into Madaraka Day, and we always talk about Shujaa Day, Madaraka Day. But there are people who have been involved in this process that we forget with time. But they played a really pivotal role, and many of them suffered as a result of it. Yes. There are those at independence, there are those of the second liberation. The reason why someone like Raila Odinga stands tall, because he was part of this second liberation, and he has consistently been part of it. So the optics of his involvement is seen because he has been there. But that doesn't mean that you forget the other people who've participated in it. People like Boniface Mwangi may seem like, well, there's Boniface Mwangi, but he and others who are involved in this, it's the same story. People like the Katiba Institute, people like the civil society, you look at them and you think, well, what are they doing? But it's a continuation of that same quest for something that will make the existence in this country equitable for everybody. Yes. So it isn't a fight that isn't, it's generational. It's like a relay. Someone did their bit, now there's a new generation of people who are also doing their bit. Yes.
And pass the baton on to the next.
Yes.
One thing that we do see happening quite often, though, in these political spheres, in this political arena, whether it's a fight or not, is that there's often the desire for what might be seen by many, the necessity to go to a higher power to ask for guidance, to ask for protection, to ask for deliverance, to ask for help.
Yes.
And we've seen this come to form by way of the national prayer breakfasts that happen.
Yes.
Previously, if we look at the way in which Kenya governed, the national prayer breakfast was not, practiced very often.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
No. It wasn't part of our regular culture.
Exactly.
Yes.
It became something then when we realized that these issues that we see here on earth needed some kind of heavenly interjection,
divine intervention
to be able to be sorted out. Now, the prayer breakfast that then took place yesterday struck me in a way like none other had. It seemed to be a tick-the-box exercise, and we had people saying things that were inspirational at best. And so I stopped and asked myself, these prayer breakfasts, are they being done to remind a spiritual being, God, that we need some help every now and then? Is that the only reason why they are being done? Because it seems as though there's a national prayer breakfast. I need to show up. We will pray and we will again pledge our allegiance to God. And then after that, we will go about our business as usual. It seems as though it is becoming something that is being done because we need to remind God in heaven that, we are here and we need your guidance every now and then. In my opinion, it is not something that should be called upon once upon a time and then we forget about it. It should be, if we are really serious about it, this kind of divine intervention should be sought after as regularly as possible. But it would seem as if that leaders are trying to paint a picture to the general population and maybe cleanse themselves of a negative attitude or a negative image that they have had before the people for the longest time. So if you attend a prayer breakfast on a Thursday morning, then you come out white as snow and your people can see you differently, especially in the run-up to the things that we are seeing now, waiting for an appeal ruling, waiting for elections in the near future, waiting for this, that, and the other thing. And one of the things that struck me is that someone said, may we show the people of Kenya that we are serious in our quest, and that may we also show that we have placed God and bring honor to the offices that we have and glory to God as well. Is that the attitude that leaders have right now, that truly in everything that we are doing, in the work that we do on a daily basis, in the offices that we hold, in the care of Kenyans that we have under our responsibility, are we bringing glory to that supreme being? Or are we doing it for ourselves and then we come and remember, oh, hold on a minute, it's May, it's National Prayer Day, let's put all things aside, say a little prayer, and then go back to the way in which we are operating. Who are we mocking?
Well,
who are political leaders mocking at this point?
Why do you use the word mocking with reference to the activities that we saw taking place yesterday?
No, because it seems to me as if you're taking a moment to try and cleanse yourself of the things that you have been doing before and that you would likely, after this prayer moment, go back to doing. It doesn't seem to me that this, unless there is a Damascus moment on that National Prayer Day and you actually realize, you know what I mean, we've actually been doing things wrongly all this time. Perhaps we need to shift our focus and, perhaps maybe pay attention to the Kenyan populace, pay attention to Kenyans, pay attention to their real development, do things for their benefit, really lead and govern in the way in which we've been asked to do. You can pray until you're blue in the face. You don't change the way in which you've been operating and doing things. You don't follow the law. You don't follow constitution. This is just a Thursday morning meeting that you had, and it's not really going to make any difference.
Mankind, by their very definition, are religious beings. Humankind. Let me not call it mankind. Let me call it, they are religious. Even the agnostics are religious, in my view. Even the atheists are religious. The moment you talk about an unbelief, you have actually introduced belief into the discussion. Okay? If you believe in nothing, you believe.
You believe.
Yes. If you believe, whatever. If you want to understand it, for the history of mankind is a history of belief. It's a belief. It's a history of how it's been structured. Calamity befalls a community. They go to a deity. They worship. They sacrifice. It's something that we've done for the longest time. When people fast, it is an activity that is intended to, A, benefit the person who is involved in that process, but also to appease the God that they believe in or the deity. There is a city in India, in the southern part of India, called Coimbatore. Now, they had a disaster where 100,000 people got killed in 4 weeks due to COVID. Now, according to those who subscribe to the Hindu religion, one of the things that they then did, they erected statues, a temple, with a specific purpose of praying to a deity that they refer to as the Corona Devi.
Yeah.
Okay.
The goddess of COVID,
Yes.
something
Now,
like this.
with Corona, you would think it's the only thing they've done. No. It isn't the only thing. They've had similar temples for smallpox, chickenpox, plague, and the past. Okay? This is how they approach it. And they are worshipping the virus in the form of the goddess and praying to her every day. to reduce the impacts of this disease. So they believe this disease is being brought about by a deity, a goddess. So this is their way of approaching it. Now, if we come back to our country, we say that this country has a percentage of 87% who call themselves Christian.
I like that you've said who call themselves Christian, yes.
Yes. So, routinely, people pray. And when it came to COVID, people have been praying. If we were to take a census, you'd find that church attendance, whether it's online, actually went up, not down, as a result of COVID. But just not because of COVID, but the effects of COVID. Because one of the things that COVID did, it affected the economy. So it affected livelihoods. It's something people do all the time. And if you look at even the language that we use, we evoke God literally all the time in our conversation. And with COVID, we've evoked God even more. So this prayer meeting falls right in to the way we sort of like lean towards the Almighty.
In times of trouble.
In times of situations that we can see are clearly beyond our imagination, thinking, and the activities that we normally think are our province and within our capacity. Because this one is clearly beyond our capacity. It's not unusual.
What is happening now in this country that is beyond human capacity to then be able to unfurl or sort out or fix? Because it seems to me as though, okay, well, it's about that time where we need to kind of pray and cleanse all of that is going on right now. And so can we fix it before things go bad? But my problem is, you can pray all you like. You can pray and you can even show people that you are invested in that spiritual aspect of things. But if there is no change in the way in which you're doing things, you can pray until the cows come home. And he too, the God that you subscribe to will actually look and say, okay, well, I can make things, I can move mountains, I can make things happen. But how far is this reform going to be? How far will it go?
Actually, I'm of a different opinion. I think that when you evoke spiritual powers, irrespective of what you are doing, you are going to have consequences that you probably didn't bargain for.
Such as?
When people pray, usually they have a predetermined outcome that they wish to see.
No, you pray according to how you want things to happen.
Yes.
You don't pray for me to be destroyed. You pray for life so that you can get better and better as you go along.
But when you invoke,
and I can read that quote. It was very clear from Speaker Justin Muturi. We pray that we may bring honor to our offices and glory to God.
It is a wonderful prayer, but I want to ask the question if he fully understands what he's actually asking for.
Bringing honor to your office.
Yes, because when you evoke spiritual powers, then what you've actually done, you've taken the matter completely out of your hands. Whatever expectations you may have, whatever you think is going to happen is not what will happen. No. What will happen is bringing about the very thing that you've prayed for, but not necessarily in the form that you expect it to be. The reality of what we have as Kenyans, I have read what leaders said. What they're telling us is what we know. They're not telling us things we don't know. When you talk about solutions and you talk about your participation, what isn't talked about is the participation in bringing us to the calamitous position that we are now in. It's not talked about. I didn't hear. Did you hear of people repenting? Did you hear of people admitting that they have done wrong?
That I've done wrong in the last, however,
I mean, I've looked at all these papers. No. Have you read anywhere where these leaders have said, folks, we have wronged you? Kenyans, we have made decisions that have not helped you and we are asking for forgiveness. Have you seen that? I haven't. Perhaps somebody has read something that I haven't read, but I didn't see it. So when people talk about prayers, and people talk about wanting good to be seen, and yet you do not look at your negative contribution to the calamitous position that we find ourselves in, then yes.
You might as well not pray.
That's where I differed. I said, theoretically, I feel like saying you shouldn't bother praying, but prayers are good because you then bring into being something that will be beyond you. The prayers are good.
So, then essentially what would happen is that the divine would intervene
Or the
Because
divine
if you're
not-
actually
not
praying,
the divine will intervene.
if you're actually praying for these things to be done, that honor be brought to the office, I'm asking, right? I'm sticking on that point because I'm looking at the different offices. Take your pick. From the very top to the bottom, do Kenyans feel right now that these offices have been held in an honorable manner towards the rule of law in this country, towards the protection of citizens, towards the promise of development? The list can go on until I'm blue in the face. Do Kenyans feel that these have been held in an honorable way? Because that is what, if this is representative of all the leaders who gathered yesterday to pray, and I'm assuming that they were actually inviting Kenyans to be part of this prayer as well, that we will continue to serve in a good manner and that we will bring honor to our offices and glory to God. Do Kenyans feel that these offices, no matter how meek, no matter how great, that honor has been brought and been practiced in the offices to date? With the high levels of corruption that we continue to see, with people really not caring about the rule of law, with people just doing things the way in which they want to do. The law is there, but it's a suggestion. It's not that you take it as sacrosanct. The Constitution is there, but okay, it's there. It's nice to look at, and we can say it and quote it. Its articles and its chapters, verse by verse. But how well do you practice it? So it seems to me that sometimes it's a day to say nice things and to gloss over situations, but we're not really looking at the nitty-gritty of what's going on in the country. And you see, and it irks me because oftentimes we'll say, okay, well, you know what? Kenya's doing pretty well if you want to compare it to other countries, but your benchmark should be you. Your benchmark should not be others who are doing worse than you. It should be you and up, you and who is doing better. Individuals who sit in these positions, CT, show me an individual who is concerned not about themselves, but about the people over whom they govern. I want to know, where are they?
The one-day prayer, the occasional one-day prayer, the optics are good. It means there's an acknowledgement that there's a divine being that can intervene in times of trouble. But what keeps this country together is not this event or events such as this one.
That is what I'm saying. It's not that keeps it together. But it would seem as if on this day there's a renewed hope and there's a renewed vigor, there's a renewed everything. And so then from Thursday, 27th May, things are going to be done differently.
No. This is a political exercise. Okay, so let's look at it as a political exercise that has decided to borrow from our religious inclination. But it is a political exercise. Political day of prayer, it's that. That we acknowledge a divine being is a good thing.
Absolutely.
But that there are people who are actually committed to ensuring that the divine being that we call God is involved in our lives. There are people who commit themselves to these things on a daily basis. And it
Regardless.
is them. It is them and their intervention and intercessions that we can look at the good that we see. Because if you look at the activities that the leadership and the political class have been involved in, the consequences of those activities are usually very dire. People get tired of suffering when they can see they need not suffer if only those they've elected to high office do what they're supposed to do. We are not in the throes of troubles because Kenya is a resourceless country. No. It is because our leaders who are supposed to look after our interests are mismanaging our interests. It's something we know. It's something we understand. Now, the duplicity that I keep talking about and the hypocrisy that is also part and parcel of the way we function in this country is what you see here. And you know something? Every time we have an election, even when it is contested, there are those who will invoke God's name and say God's will has been done. Yes.
Yeah.
There are those who will say, well, God's will has been done. We have gotten the leader that we want. There are those who will say, God's will has been done. God is always brought into a conversation.
And I feel at the last moment,
when people feel that they want to manipulate the name of God to serve their interests.
or to show Kenyans at large that you actually have this connection spiritually. And
They
that
do.
truly you
I
are
don't
cleansed
doubt,
and clean.
By the way, I don't doubt that particular connection, because I cannot impugn someone's personal relationship that they
No,
have with
you
their
can't.
God.
No.
But when you evoke God's name, whoever you believe that God to be, please be prepared for consequences that you didn't bargain for. Because the very thing that you want will be brought into being, but not quite in the manner that you anticipate. That is what you must contend with. Because you say, God, we want a certain type of leader. I believe that you will get the leader that you prayed for.
And so when you say that, God, we want to be able to honor our offices that the Kenyans have given to us and then continue to bring glory to God. So he will make it in such a way that you will have no choice but to do just that you will be honorable in your position, or you'll be out of the position for which you chose to serve dishonorably.
You will have unleashed, in so asking, the very thing that you may not particularly want. Because you are talking about outcomes. And you are talking about outcomes as you envision it in your mind. But the outcomes may not necessarily present themselves in quite that way.
You know, I could be sitting here and maybe Kenyans actually do feel that some good work has been done, CT.
There's a lot of good work that has been done.
I agree with
My
that
beef
completely.
isn't that. My beef is that it is a pale shadow of what ought to be done. That is the problem. It's a really pale shadow of what ought to be done. Are we supposed to be content with the crumbs when we know very well that
You can get the whole cake?
Yes, it exists. That is my bone of contention. It isn't that good hasn't been done. It's a very small fraction of the good that should be done that we see. That is the bone of contention. Does the government do good things? It most certainly
Absolutely. I mean,
does.
in the last 2 weeks alone, what have we seen? We can't probably count them on our fingers. From KMC to the refurbishment, when you look at things like that would provide employment for people in that particular area, that would lift the economic profile of the country. When you see things like, prize meat then being exported. All right. When you look at the Lamu port and you say that now business can grow, and you bring in exports, you export rather, and you import to other countries in a manner in which the capacity that was previously available would not have provided. You're able to do that. In and out cargo is happening. You're saying in the next 6 months, so much will be done in this country if you're just looking at imports and exports and cargo facilities. People keep talking about the SGR. People talk about these roads. We're looking at infrastructure being developed on a daily basis. It's great. But then just take a moment and imagine what could be done every year if everybody was all hands on deck. This is just a little bit because you hear what the president has been able to commission here and there, and he has folks working under him. Just imagine for a moment, and I think it's a beautiful place to be, if county governments were doing what they were supposed to do. If we didn't have this whole issue of, we should have set this up and we didn't. If people are taking and paying attention and establishing the work here on earth, can you imagine what it would be if you had hospitals running? Yesterday we talked about the fact that parents don't want to take their children to school far away. They want to take them close. They want to bring them closer home. But the quality of education around them just doesn't work. We went into 9 months whereby children could not go to school, whether remotely or otherwise, because an infrastructure has not been put in place where they could imagine what it could be like if you could have students learning from home. And then we come back to school, we saw horrible pictures of students in schools that are up to their knees in mud in a classroom. Are those not the things that we're talking about? That you are doing a good job, but you could do infinitely more. Infinitely more. And that's the problem. So if you ask me, it doesn't then bring honor to the office. And one day of praying is not going to suddenly bring a miracle about that will now make those things be. It's not going to happen. It has to be in the practice. The prayer can cover it all, but it has to be in the practice. There's not going to be a miracle that's going to reform a man. It's got to be a decision to do the job.
Actually, there could be. There could be. There could be. You see, whenever you talk of miracles, you're talking about something that is usually unlikely. Something that isn't considered normal, in fact, far-fetched.
Like Paul and his Damascus moment.
Yes. If it's normal, then it isn't a miracle. If, for instance, we were determined to root out corruption, one of the things that we would see is the government seriously allocating resources to institutions like the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, giving them the manpower, giving them the muscle, creating judicial arms within that particular, that can actually deal with the numbers. If you have limited resources, limited numbers, just the slow pace of that movement already curtails that process of weeding out corruption, because the length of time it takes to even hear a case and determine it, because the human resource isn't there. If we were really determined, then this issue that we've been debating for the longest time of the 41 judges, it should have been a case of 81, not even 41. Make it double, make it 82. If you're talking about it, the resources that could have been available would have been, you look at the police service, you determine the remunerations, you determine the livelihood. There are steps that a government that is serious with fighting corruption does. And you see, this is what they're doing. So when cases get to the government institutions that they should, those government institutions have the wherewithal to ensure that there is a swift management of these things. Now, there are things that the government has done to ensure these things are done. But once again, they don't talk about it. And even when they do, you would say, good thing, but simply not enough. Simply not enough. Because any action that is serious, my friend, you see the ramifications of it. You see the results of it. But by the same token, when it is a token effort, you also see the ramifications of it. So there are discussions and talks. Why is it that we find that every time there's a court ruling, like the High Court sends 128 top parastatal chiefs home, why is it a headline? If we have a legal process that actually does what this should be normal. If you do something that is wrong, we will know what's going to happen. But for us, it's like almost miraculous when you hear such cases. Why? Because they're few and far between. Why? Because we have a history where the judicial arm of government was considered to be part and parcel of the executive. Now, how do you ensure that these things are changed? Well, the activities that are required to bring about this change, they are not miraculous. They're just things that need to be operationalized, decisions made and steps taken. But they are not taken. So, yes, there are things prayers will do, but these ones don't require prayers.
These ones don't require prayers.
They just require decisions that are made and things put into operation.
We're going to take a break on Kenya's biggest conversation now. Take a break also on KTN Home and come back and continue with our discussion this morning. SpiceFM KE, that's how to reach us on online. And 0719-012-600. We're going to take your calls when we come back. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. It's the Situation Room.
...24/7, around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
Hello.
Halo, umesikia?
Nimesikia nini?
Hujasikia habari? Hebu wacha nikuambie. Kile kimetokea.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Don't wait for hearsay. Dial star 550 star 2 hash to read the Nairobian e-paper from the convenience of your mobile phone for only 20 shillings from your telecom line and stay up to date, the hottest talk of town with no additional charges.
For many of us, home is a place where we find our inner peace, a place where we find the most comfort, a place where we recharge, a place where we create laughter and all the good memories. But most importantly, a place where we all belong. At KTN Home, we believe there is something for everyone. So catch all the comedy, telenovelas, Nollywood, music, sporting action, kids shows, documentaries, movies, dramas and reality shows, all to make you and your family feel right at home. You can also stream live at www.standardmedia.co.ke/KTN Home.
All right, cloudy conditions in Nairobi at 16 and light rain in some parts this morning already. Highs of 25 and lows of 15. It's raining slightly in Nyeri at 15, highs of 22 and lows of 14. 27 will be the high in Nakuru. It's mostly cloudy at 16. It's also 16 and mostly sunny in Eldoret, highs of 24 and lows of 12. Mostly sunny conditions in Kisumu at 23, highs of 28 and lows of 19. It's mostly sunny in Kakamega at 23, highs of 28 and lows of 15. 30 the high in Mombasa. It continues to rain at 26. 28 degrees and light rain in Malindi, highs of 30 and lows of 26. And Kampala is sunny at 23, highs of 27 and lows of 17. Mostly sunny conditions at 24 in Dar es Salaam, highs of 30 and lows of 22. And 14 degrees is sunny Johannesburg, 21 the high and lows of 7. And mostly clear conditions in Lagos at 32. That will be the high for today. It's 27 now. It'll come down to lows of 26. Sunny conditions at 23 in Kinshasa, highs of 34 and lows of 24. Okay, so in the inner roads, the inner belly of Nairobi. So we have some issues there. Gitanga Road coming out through towards Othaya Road, Kileleshwa. There's some traffic there that is inexplicable, not understanding what's going on, but it's happening, guys, so we need to be very careful. Okay, a lot of motorists are scrambling to access the ICD route through the private road, Mombasa Road, going off Mombasa Road today, because it's a lot faster than going via the going past the SGR and towards Cabanas. Cabanas is at a standstill today. As you get to General Motors, it's not moving at all. So folks using the ICD, it is a clearer route. It'll get you out to the southern bypass a lot faster and then into the city center without too much of a headache. It's a longer route, but right now it's a faster route if that's what you want to use. Is it open? Yes, it is. You might want to use that as an option. Looking at options on Thika Road as well. The service lane is not doing you too good this morning. The main highway looks to be the one to stick on, at least for now. Pangani Underpass out through Wangari Maathai Road. That's what you use to get into the CBD. So those are options, guys, and we like them. Keep coming. SpiceFM KE on Twitter is how you can get in touch. Text on 40127. We want to move this morning. We don't want to get stuck at all.
Miaka 20 safari ilianza ya kutuunganisha kama Wakenya. Twende tukiuke, twende tukiuke. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Let's go beyond. Mimi na wewe tukibuni kazi nzuri ya kujivunia. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Kwa juhudi na tumaini twaelekea kesho pamoja. Twende tukiuke, twende tukiuke. Safaricom.
You know, when you see someone being jailed, a governor or two or someone who stole, then people will fear. Because our problem is not the borrowing, it's the stealing.
We've become actually a nation of thieves. The only thing we lack is an opportunity to steal.
The guys who quote the Bible and say I'm a Christian and all that, and you know they're thieves. Return what you have stolen 4 times. If you know that you have property or anything that you have stolen, just return and say, my God does not allow me to hold stolen things.
We are also a reflection of you because you elect us. You know, we don't get into our office by ourselves. We are a reflection of the people who elect us.
We don't want to go to the streets. We have a constitution that enables us, assert our will.
When the legislators are now being taken as hostage by the executive for whatever reason, we are now bound by what they want us to do.
This is just outside the realms of reality.
We have impunity written into the DNA of our political class.
How old were you when you learned that Jeshi Lokop is Jeshi la Wokovu?
I can't say it very well. No, ni mtu wa Jeshi Lokop.
And everyone knows. Okay.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Home in a happen, a Safaricom Home Fiber. Stream movies non-stop at home with the best fiber internet speeds in Kenya. Dial star 400 hash and get connected today.
So it is Friday, CT, and you see now I'm trying to convince you about this Home in a Happen. I'm telling you that Home in a Happen. Star 400 hash is what Safaricom is asking us to dial on our phones this morning. Me, I use Safaricom Home Fiber. I do. And I've never had an issue. Actually, I think about it, and I've never really had downtime with this at all. And even when there is, I've been quick to come back and sort it out. So basically what they're asking us is, you know what, guys? Over the last 1 year, things have really changed in the way in which we've had to operate. We've had to have meetings on the go. There's face-to-face meetings are not happening. And the only way to do that is via the internet. Kids have had to continue with their classes. They do this online. You want to be entertained because you're not going to go out and sit in the club and watch football anymore or whatever, or go to the movies. You have to do it at home if you're going to do that. And so there's presenting an option for you to do a lot of things, an array of activities. So do your work, attend your online classes, and then, you know, fancy about your entertainment as well with a connection that costs 2,900 shillings a month. With a connection that gives you 8 Mbps of speeds and allows you to do all of these things for yourself, for Mrs. CT, for CT-lets, allows you to do all of these things. All you have to do is dial star 400 hash, select option 2, tell us where you live, the province in which you are, your estate. Somebody calls you, they come to you, you pay this amount, voila, c'est ça, it's done. You're streaming, you're working.
All right, in the same voila, c'est ça spirit, whatever that means, I will dial over the weekend. When we come here on Monday, I will tell you my experience.
I like it. This is what I'm talking about. I like it very
much.
Dial. You will dial?
I will dial. I will even have pictorial evidence of what it is that I have had in terms of communication from Safaricom. And then when that process of installation, etc., takes place, I will also inform you and tell you this is what I'm experiencing, this is what I've had.
What more can a woman ask for? I think it's great.
How on earth am I supposed to know that?
Star 400 hash is what Safaricom is asking us to dial. Do that. But hey, we want to give 3,000 shillings worth of Safaricom airtime today to one person who will show us this exact same thing that CT is going off to do this weekend. Let us know. Send a screenshot of what you have been able to do, either renewing your subscription to the Safaricom Home Fiber platform, 8 Mbps, whether you're bronze, silver or gold. Let us know what that looks like. Or if you're thinking, I need this in my life, and you've made the decision to do so, get on it. Send us a screenshot, send it to our socials this morning, SpiceFM KE, and we will reward you with 3,000 shillings worth of Safaricom airtime. Home in a happen na Safaricom.
Home in a happen, a Safaricom Home Fiber. Stream movies non-stop at home with the best fiber internet speeds in Kenya. Dial star 400 hash and get connected today.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice.
And having this conversation about what the focus ought to be. And look, for me, in as much as, prayers are important, vital. It doesn't matter how you look at it. Even sometimes with people who say that they don't believe, say up a prayer in a moment of fear. Say up something they don't acknowledge who they are speaking to, but say up a prayer in moments of fear. But I'm saying that the prerequisite and the requisite action to prayer ought to be, proper management of the office that you've been given, making sure that that duty and that responsibility that has been given to you, actually doing it right. Because you know what it looks like? It looks like you're taking a couple of hours to cleanse what you've been doing, and hopefully that you get cleansing to go forward, and then you may go then forth and do whatever it is that you like. How many, in terms of actions, have changed, or having an epiphany moment during a prayer day, for example, has made you then go on to change the way in which you did things? We talk about this Damascus moment, but guess what? Immediately after his Damascus moment, Paul even changed his name. Saul even changed his name. The things that he used to do, he did them no more. He did an absolute roundabout turn. Since we are going to play in that arena, let's just do it. Because that is what happened. He had that moment and it changed everything. There was not a sliver of his past life that could then be shown in his present, moving forward. So that's the thing. You're saying that we're praying and asking for help. Okay, the help comes. How are you then going to change? The cries coming out from Kenyans are too many for you to take these 2 hours and then talk about honor coming to your seat and glory going to God if you're not going to change the way in which we've been doing things. If you're not going to be subject to the rule of law, if you're not going to be guided by the tenets of the Constitution, for example, then you are wasting time.
You know, if you look at the way our leaders treat us and the way they consider us, I get the impression they consider God in the same light.
It's just one of us sitting over here on this next
and,
table.
Somebody you can manipulate, somebody you can lie to, somebody you can talk at. And having talked at him or her or it, then you go on with your business. But you've talked. Because remember, we are in a country where political leaders believe they solve the problems we talk about, the problems we know we have, by talking at the problem and saying, we have, we will, it's never we might, it's we will.
We'll form.
We have. And yes. And then when some matter becomes really serious, some form of committee will be formed to look into it and to do something with it. And as far as many people are concerned, it's done. A committee was formed, and that is it.
Yeah. We looked into it.
A commission was formed, and we have the findings. Done. Now, a day of reckoning is not going to come. It's actually upon us. Now, those leadership may not think so, but it is. We have an opportunity to do things that past leaders have never done. And if this opportunity is wasted, then the consequences I spoke of the generational consequences, will be brought to bear. You know, we've been talking about legacies of this particular administration, of this government for the longest time. And that's why I'm saying the moment is upon us. Because the decisions that are made during this particular period, when all our issues have come to a head, all the problems we talk about and we keep talking about, COVID has actually shown us the complete bare underbelly of all these things, without hiding, without pretending. It's even those who didn't want to see it have had to see it. Now, if a decision isn't made to genuinely deal with these problems and to actually address them as they should, well, that moment is upon us for that decision to be made, so that these so-called legacies that you speak of can be turned to be predominantly positive. Because legacies don't necessarily have to be positive. They can even be negative. But if the moment is lost and it is business as usual, then, well, it isn't as though prosperity will judge you. We in the present will judge you.
Okay. Things that go wrong don't go wrong on their own. Okay?
No. We set in motion
mismanaged
that process.
funds. Yeah, mismanaged funds don't mismanage themselves.
Funds don't mismanage themselves.
Corruption is like a virus.
Corruption
it needs a host.
It doesn't corrupt itself.
It needs a host. Somebody is perpetuating it. It must reside somewhere. It must be practiced through human beings.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Cities don't become a mess on their own.
No, it's like garbage doesn't collect itself. Management
is not things are not mismanaged by themselves. There must be a human element that is played there. And more often than not, these positions have people who've been appointed, who've been elected or selected for these positions, right? So, is it that though when we see things having gone wrong, that means there was somebody who had a responsibility and failed to do it, right?
Yes.
It is not that it was not a hurricane moment and there was some kind of wonder of nature that came and blew things to smithereens. Something went wrong because somebody failed to manage it properly. Is it possible to change things around? Or is it absolutely necessary to change the people who are sitting in these positions where things have gone? Because it would seem to me, as in the reason why we are, doing kind of like this scheduled prayers and these calendar prayers is so that we can, help things along, isn't it? But to me, if something is going wrong and there's somebody who is sitting in that position where things are going wrong, you change the person and not hope and pray that there will be some kind of reform that will miraculously take place. The person is whom has got to go.
No, changing the person won't really change much. Not really. It doesn't really, because we keep electing Kenyans. Please remember, all right? And the reason why I talked about a scorecard, the reason why I talked about accountability to the people who elect you is, for me, it's a show of commitment. Meaning, this is what I am telling you, and this is what I want you to hold me accountable for. Okay? How many of the people who are in the sphere of political leadership do you see thinking along those lines? And if they do, how many do you see enacting that social contract that they have with their people? Yes. You laugh because you know that social contract doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
No.
Even if it did, look, you're looking at situations where it will be heavily trampled upon and it doesn't really matter.
So anytime we hear of things, what is it that would enable us to take the utterances seriously? There is very little, really.
Unless you had previously shown that what you said you would do.
Yes.
That's really the only time that Kenyans would look at you and and then, sit up and listen. Okay, because previously he or she, when they said they were going to do something, they actually got it done.
Yes.
So now if they're going to speak in the present or in the future, we're more likely to listen and more likely to take them seriously because we have a history upon which they had previously performed.
Yes. If when speaking, you're speaking about the things that we can see, then that speech makes sense. If you are speaking about something that is promissory, something that is in the future and we haven't seen, you are simply following a tradition that we've become accustomed to, and it's a tradition that has led to the high levels of mistrust that we see. So you're not easing the mistrust, you're entrenching it. You are making it the norm for most people. And yet you don't see that this also is a legacy. You also don't see that this is something that will also be generational. Okay? We talk about the youth and the total apathy they have towards the things that we have, and also the legacy of corruption that we've passed on to our youth, so that they are introducing totally new levels of corruption, totally new levels of impunity, and we say the youth are this. No. They are a product of what we have done to get them to that, because we live with them, they see us, they follow our examples. So you are talking about leadership. You're talking about leadership that never really wants to let go of whatever position they have, or to create an environment in which you can actually have a rollover, or what you call a succession plan.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think these youth will do when they get into power? They will not want to
it's their turn
leave.
to eat now. It becomes your turn to
leave.
eat. Yes, it becomes your turn to eat because you've not seen anything. It's like, what is this thing that they call when geese conditioning?
Yes.
Right? It's what you've seen. So you're following what has happened before you.
You trust what you've seen,
Yes,
because
it's
that is
nothing
how
else.
things have been done.
And that's what I'm saying. So now when you come before the nation and you pray in the manner in which we saw things, and you make utterances like, akin to what we've heard, not just yesterday, but previously, what are you really doing?
You don't do.
Are you not really admitting that, okay, all this, we've messed up before and we're trying to see if we can fix it? But a prayer on this particular day is not going to fix it. There's got to be an intent change.
I was busy saying that there are things that are good. I think you do have a perfect point. It's a complete waste of time.
It's a waste of time. Don't do it. Don't bother. If you're going to continue going in the way in which you're going to go, it's not going to change anything.
Right.
Unless you change
completely.
Unless you change completely. If you like, pray until you're not in this case blue. Pray, but your intent is not to change. Forget it.
No, you are right. You are right. And if the God who is being prayed to in his merciful manner chooses to listen and to do something, that is a choice that is left to the Almighty. But you're right. A political activity in the name of a prayer, a political activity in the name of a day of prayer, is actually a waste of time. You're right. I have reconsidered my position. You are right.
These are the rare moments that we need to take and hold for future, and I'm doing just that. It's 5 minutes to 9 o'clock. We have to say thank you to our audience on KTN Home. Don't leave though. Switch over to SpiceFM KE. It's 94.4 in Nairobi, and we're looking at 102.5 in Kisumu. Eldoret is on 96.7 and Malindi is on 97.7. Thank you for keeping it with us today on KTN Home. We'll be back with you on Monday at 8. But for now, the conversation continues on Spice FM.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
About 9 CT is being CT. Okay. So, I think it is a good thing. But you know what? I just thought about that as we were rounding up that conversation, CT. And this show of prayer, like you said, there are people who are committed to making sure that this country is pulled out of the drama that it is in currently. And they pray regularly. They give their time because they realize that this earthly manifestation of power is not happening. And they know that it's only a divine intervention that can come in and save the situation. And there are people who do this on a regular basis. So this show of a couple of hours and then you get back to your business, that's literally what it was. Let's show the nation that, we are praying, and then, we're just going to get back to business as usual. There are those who actually take it seriously and spend a lot of their time, their effort, making sure that they're presenting these issues on a daily basis to divine assistance to actually have answers that are necessary in the country. It's good to do, but if you ask me, it's not solving problems.
Holding leaders accountable could be a divine role, and it could represent a divine intervention. But something culturally, socially, when people are in leadership, we somehow seem to feel that it is almost wrong to call them out. And if you're talking about transformation, this is where transformation ought to begin. Leaders must be held accountable, for heaven's sake. How do you bequeath someone that amount of authority and also give them the resources to ensure certain things are done, and you don't hold them accountable?
You don't hold them accountable.
How? And those resources are not theirs. They are public resources that they've been given to manage on your behalf.
And then they take up what I like to call, they take on an organ madame status, whereby just because now they have achieved that position, you cannot ask, you cannot tell, you cannot demand, you cannot question. And that is the wrong position that any kind of leadership should take. It is the wrong approach completely.
Actually,
that your leader should be continually accessible to you.
A leader who actually, you see, the indicator of a leader that you ought to consider for any position is one who brings about his accountability to the table. Hence the social contract, and says, you need to hold me accountable. And this is what I want to do in order for you to hold me accountable.
Keep me in check.
If someone isn't telling you to hold them accountable, that person will be a horrible, terrible leader.
Then there's
and for
a problem.
heaven's sake, don't even look at them twice. Someone who's telling you what they're going to do, and they haven't asked you what you'd like them to do for you. Someone who's telling you what they're going to bring, and they haven't asked you what you'd like brought. And then on top of that, they don't tell you how it is that you can hold them accountable for the things you have informed them that they ought to do for you and that you need them to do. Man, if you elect such a person and you haven't gotten that script from them, you have yourself to blame when they do not deliver what you thought they ought to. It is you, not them.
Have to be absolutely involved in the process. We're coming round to 7 o'clock, rather, coming round to 9 o'clock on the Situation Room.
Sugar and spice and everything I spice it.
spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
As expectations are high for the second rollout of COVID-19 launched by Helsias Mutai Kagwe today, the Indian variant of the virus is among us. Helsias Mutai Kagwe says the community spread of the virus is with us, hence the need to be even extra careful and adhere to the protocols given by the state.
Out of the 39 samples, 28 samples aligned with the Indian variant B1617.1. 6 samples aligned with the UK variant B.1.1.7. And 1 sample aligned with the B1612 first identified in India, while 1 sample with both the UK and the Indian variant is undergoing further sequencing. When you are dealing with the community spread, that is the people who have no history of travel, as I have explained. It means that the variant is in the community and we have to deal with it.
COVID-19 Vaccine Task Force Chairperson Dr. Wilsa Hwale says we expect 72,000 doses from South Sudan.
Last week we estimated close to 100,000 will be available, and then tomorrow we are receiving 72,000 doses from South Sudan, not DRC.
Meanwhile, Kisumu Governor Professor Nyang' Nyong'o also says tight measures have been put in place as we approach the Madaraka Day celebrations to be hosted in the county.
There will be no gathering at Kirembe grounds or Moi Stadium or the Molen Field in Nyamasaria. We ask everybody to stay at home and watch the event on their television or listen to the radio. His Excellency the President and his guests will, however, proceed to the Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium.
Investigations have been launched following the collapse of a building under construction in Nyamira County. County Assembly Speaker Mofataya says the Ministry of Works and county engineers are working with officials from the National Construction Authority to investigate the matter and submit a report to Parliament. He urged residents to be patient as the investigations continue. Busia County Government has announced the launch of a state-of-the-art fish farming project aimed at uplifting young people economically. Busia County Deputy Governor Moses Mulomi describes the project as one that will be of great benefit to the youth. Here are some of the comments from some residents in the area.
Tulikuwa tunaomba kuifanya ino mradi iwe ya nguvu zaidi na iendelezwe. Tulikuwa tunaomba serikali ya county government iwape mkono na kuwaunga vijana sana, hasa kwa mji wa Busia County. Hasa sana hawa vijana wa jobless ambao wamekuwa miaka nyingi sana wametatizika kwenye mambo ya kazi. Angalau watoto wetu wataenda shule, maana wengine wetu sisi ni mababa na tuna mafamilia. Wengine wetu ni mama wa boma na wako hapa. Ndio maana tumesema tuje katika kongamano hili la kuidhinisha na kuanzisha huu mradi wa aquaculture wa ukuzaji wa samaki Busia County.
Kenya Forestry Services officers in Kwale County are warning locals who have been aimlessly cutting down trees to make charcoal and timber that they will be arrested and prosecuted. Area KFS Board Edwin Misache says this comes a month after the agency began planting indigenous and food trees with the aim of rehabilitating the forest. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
Okay, folks are complaining. There's overlapping at Cabanas. It's looking terrible going towards General Motors. People are misbehaving generally on the roads today. I know. Mombasa Road is not looking good at all. And then you're getting out towards the turnoff at South Sea, then past Bellevue, up and about. It's looking pretty crazy as you then get to the Nyeri Stadium roundabout. Maybe today is the day they will tell us that the other side of Bunyala Road will be open, but this is wishful thinking, at least for now. Hopefully it opens up later. All right, coming off of Figure Road into the CBD, looking much better now, guys. Not too bad. Kiambu Road is still jam-packed. It's moving, not bumper to bumper as it was before. Let's just keep looking at this and see how it opens up later. Welcome to the weekend. Certain parts of Mombasa Road still not moving too badly, at least in an inbound direction. Langata Road, not really. Okay, so Ngong Road also is not looking too bad right now, so just keep an eye on this and see how that opens up. The Eastern Bypass at Kamakis is really a mess this morning. If you don't need to use the Eastern Bypass, use another route. At this rate, you'd rather stick onto Mombasa Road. Shall we keep an eye on things in about half an hour and see how it opens up? Are you stuck somewhere? Let us know so we can share. Did you find a good route? Share that as well on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text on 40127.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room. The
At
only
6
way to
minutes
start
past
your
9
day.
o'clock. It's Kenya's biggest conversation. This is The Situation Room. Nduoko and CT Muga this morning. And we are continuing conversations. If you're tuned in on our live streams on Twitter and YouTube for now, SpiceFM KE, wherever you are tuned in around the country, Nairobi, Nakuru, Eldoret, going to Kisumu, Kakamega, Mombasa on this other side, Malindi, and such like. Karibuni sana to the final hour of the show for the day and the week. We're going to kick off the hour with the proverb. CT?
Yes. A rotten potato affects the rest.
A rotten potato affects the rest. It is how it spill over to leaders. One starts and then the other kind of adopts the same behavior, move on to the next.
That's why I said bad influence can be generational. But it starts with one.
Yep.
And then what is often the point of discussion is not the genesis of the problem, but the emanating consequences of the problem. That's what people discuss instead of asking themselves, really, this thing that we see, what brought it about? Yes. And then what is it that ought to be done to ensure that we don't stem it, but that we eradicate it completely? Yes.
With all that has been going on, and now in the country, and it's just looking at the way things have changed in the last 1 year around the world and what is going to happen, there's a vital question on Citizens' Agenda that we'll be asking this morning. It is Friday, and we are going to towards the weekend, and so many things will happen over the weekend and coming into the new week. And I've been having conversations with people over the last 1 month, and there's a feeling that bothers me a little bit, that in a democracy, that one of the loudest voices that you actually have as a citizen is your vote. It is what you then use to make decisions about who will come into positions of governance and leadership. It is also what you use to make decisions about who you will remove, right? Because your vote not only puts somebody in, your vote at the same time take somebody out. But the worrying thing is that there are quite a number of people in this country that come from a particular demographic, which we already have been told time and time again, it holds the largest percentage of Kenya's existence. And that's the younger people. And we're looking at people between the ages of 18 and go to 50, okay?
Go to 40.
Go to 40.
Don't go 50. You can't be 50 and be young at the same time. Not possible.
50-year-olds who say they're young at heart.
They're youthful, but not young.
Okay, sawa. So let's go 18 to 40. And then you're right, because the people that I've spoken to are within that age bracket. And what have they said? That they are not going to bother being involved in this circus of the election process, the electoral process whereby they are involved in voting. That they really do not feel that their vote counts, that they don't see that they will be involved in this process because it doesn't matter what they say, it doesn't matter what they do, that they feel that there is a group of people who will then control outcomes, and they are the ones then who will be responsible for who comes out in governance and leadership. And that is a conversation that's being had right now, alongside conversations that are happening to co-opt young people and youthful people into making sure that they do vote. turning around those narratives. And that is what we are jumping into this morning. Do you feel that your vote counts in this country when it comes to instituting leaders in the country? Does it count? And why then? And then, a secondary question to that is, why do you vote? Because a lot of people feel that I vote because, okay, it's my duty. I'm going to come out and cast my vote. It really doesn't matter what the outcome is because it's already predetermined. But others feel that, yes, I must be involved in this exercise because if I am not, then I have not given up. I have not expended my duty as a citizen to be involved in the process of choosing leaders. How important is it? But more and more people are saying that they don't think it counts and they would not want to be involved in the process because it is a waste of time.
Well, if you think there is an activity that is important for the nation, then those who are in charge of that nation, those who have been elected to positions of political authority, it behoves them then to ensure that beyond just setting up institutions that are mandated with the duty of ensuring that the citizenry are A1, informed about the electoral processes, B, they are adequate facilities to ensure that those who qualify to be registered as voters are also registered. But along with the registration of voters, that the identification documents that you then require for this registration is also provided. Now, in the absence of this, then I dare say that one can fully understand why it is that people who fall into the bracket of young people will have the apathy. Because if you have an electoral process that's supposed to bring about change that you can relate to, doesn't happen year in, year out, then you have to ask yourself why it is you need to bother to be involved in this particular process. Because you get to the point where you feel, whether I get involved or not, it looks like the status quo will be maintained. But actually, I am of a contrary view. Your involvement doesn't have to be just with the voting. And your involvement doesn't just have to be with the waiting for someone to inform you. Not in this age, not in this era, not in this generation of communication, not so. If you think you want change, why do you sit back and wait for someone to bring about that change? Why do you not get involved in the process of ensuring that if it is information, you are involved in that information? If it is involved in getting people to determine how it is they want to actually vote or elect, why don't you get involved in that process? If you form that particular grouping of people who are considered the majority, who do you think is going to be responsible for ensuring that that majority counts if it isn't you?
I think there are a lot of people who don't see it as a responsibility, though. A lot of people who see it as something that we just get to do, and then maybe somebody will be president, or somebody will be a member of parliament, somebody will be senator, this, that, the other thing. It's not looked at as a responsibility.
Then welcome to the world of non-participation, and welcome to the consequences of non-participation. Because the situation that you consider bad will get worse. And yet, you have the means to change it. I asked this question the other day. Why do you complain when it is you who is responsible for electing the very people you think and believe will not serve your interests? Why don't you try with the bold experiment of electing your own? These young people, these youth, elect them. You say they're not qualified. What makes you think they're not qualified? If they meet the requisite determination that the Constitution affords, give them the opportunity. Why not try that? Why not see what happens? You've seen what happens when you elect some of these other people. You've seen over and over and over, even before you had the mandate and the capacity and the legal position to elect them. So you think it's going to change when you keep electing the very people whose results you already know, you can predetermine. Why not try something new?
Why not try to do something new? It's been said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and then expecting different results.
Yes, you're claiming you have no power. You do have the power. You actually have it. But how do you not see that the very thing that you do for others is the same thing you can do for yourself? Because it's the young people who vote in abundance because they have the abundance of numbers to bring these leaders to the position that they are in.
Now, how about doing that with that abundance that you have?
Yes, you already
from
have
an
it.
informed point.
You have it.
An informed position.
Yes. Why don't you make the demands that you can make? Why don't you ask for the accountability that you can ask for? But The question I'm asking, why don't you experiment with electing people who you think can actually bring about this change? Not from among those who have been there, not from among those who claim that they have done things which you can't see having done. No. Look for those who have a history of having done things, by all means. Don't discriminate because of their age or their gender. They have a track record. But look from among you people who have been responsible for trying to bring about change, who have been responsible for at least trying to present themselves in an accountable manner. Take the plunge and elect these people. You have the means to.
You have the means to. Do you have the wherewithal? Does your vote actually count? And if we would like to hear the answers to that this morning. Does your vote count? Because if what you feel about that particular question comes out in a particular way, then it could explain how you feel it counts and what you then must do thereafter. It's 0719 012 600. Join Citizens Agenda with us this morning. What is it that you feel? Does your vote in Kenya count today? It's 9:15.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. (24/7) around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
Sugar and spice and everything nice, just the way you like it.
The Spice Drive.
Did you have a great day?
102.5 Spice FM. Kisumu. The weather with Spice FM.
Light rain in certain parts of Nairobi at 18, highs of 24 and lows of 15. It's also raining in Nyeri at 15, highs of 22 and lows of 14. We're looking at cloudy conditions in Nakuru at 18, highs of 27 and lows of 14. It's mostly sunny in Eldoret at 18 with highs of 24. 28 will be the high where it's mostly sunny in Kisumu, and 24 and mostly sunny conditions in Kakamega, highs of 28 and lows of 15. 30 will be the high in Mombasa today. It's also raining in some parts at 27. It's 29 and raining slightly in Malindi, highs of 30 and lows of 26. Mostly sunny conditions in Kampala at 24, highs of 27 and lows of 17. Mostly sunny in Dar es Salaam at 26, highs of 30, highs of 21. In Johannesburg, it's sunny at 15. It still continues to rain in Lagos at 27, highs of 32 and lows of 26. And Kinshasa is sunny at 24, highs of 34. We're looking out into Beijing and we'll see highs of 29 as they dip into early evening. Sunny conditions through and through. It's sunny in Paris at 12 with highs of 21 and lows of 11. And sunny in London at 12 with highs of 19 and lows of 10. We'll wrap things up in the Big Apple this Friday where it's 18 degrees and clear, highs of 19 and lows of 9.
Spice up your life.
You know, when you see someone being jailed, a governor or two or someone who stole, then people will fear. Because our problem is not the borrowing, it's the stealing.
We've become actually a nation of thieves. The only thing we lack is an opportunity to steal.
The guys who quote the Bible and say I'm a Christian and all that, and you know they're thieves. Return what you have stolen 4 times. If you know that you have property or anything that you have stolen, just return and say, my God does not allow me to hold stolen things.
We are also a reflection of you because you elect us. You know, we don't get into our office by ourselves. We are a reflection of the people who elect us.
We don't want to go to the streets. We have a constitution that enables us, assert our will.
When the legislature are now being taken as hostage by the executive for whatever reason, we are now bound by what they want us to do.
This is just outside the realms of reality.
We have impunity written into the DNA of our political class.
How old were you when you learned that Jeshi la Wokovu is Jeshi la Wokovu?
I can't say it very well.
And everyone knows. Okay.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
Morning's done right in the Situation Room. In conversations this morning with you, getting to know what you think about your vote and how important it is. It's Kenya's biggest conversation, and wherever you're tuned in around the country, in Nairobi, Mombasa, going out to Nakuru, Eldoret, Nyeri, Kisumu and Malindi on the different frequencies around the country and online as well. SpiceFM KE on Twitter and YouTube this morning. We want to have a conversation with you today. Citizens Agenda, and we're asking the question, coming up into 9 months or so, the country hopes to birth this baby of a new crop of leaders. Well, okay, a different crop of leaders, new president, senators, members of parliament, governors and such. And the question comes to you today. Does your vote count? If you feel that it counts, then there are certain things that you should be doing from an informed point or an informed decision. So the call is upon Kenyans. Is the call going to be obeyed? Do you feel that whatever you will do, whatever decision you will make when it comes to that ballot, does it count? And if you don't, and because, just coming off of what we've spoken to certain people about and what they've had to say is that, you know what? I'm not even going to bother in this exercise because folks are just going to end up doing whatever they feel and they're going to operate in whichever manner they please, which I think is a bit of a sad place to be in as a country, as a democracy that hopes to thrive at some point. That there are those who feel it doesn't matter what they say, it doesn't matter what they do. They will not vote because they don't feel that it will have any kind of impact. We're taking your calls this morning on 0719012600 and we're going to start off with Karanja this morning. Karanja from Naivasha, good morning. Hello. Hello, Karanja. Good morning.
Good morning, Du and City. How are you?
Very well.
We are very well, thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm very fine. Yesterday I tried to reach you, but my signal was not good.
Oh, Pole Sana. But you're here with us, brother. It's good.
Yes, even if we are experiencing some frequency, I don't know, it has some interferences. Nowadays, it's not clear like the way you used to hear some times back.
That's something that's
a problem.
Yeah, that's something that needs to be looked into, and we'll flag it and let you. And I'm sure somebody will work on that.
Yes. That's higher. Coming to the point,
Twende kazi.
Coming to the point, my vote will count.
Mm-hmm.
If only, I will not be pushed to vote against somebody else. Yeah. You know, there are things that we should look. Corruption. The problem with Kenya is the mega thing that there are three mega things that we have in Kenya. That is having not my vote to be counted. Number one is corruption, greediness, and impunity. These are the things that they are making my vote not to be counted.
Are you talking about the physical counting? Because what I'm looking at, what we're looking at here, Karanja, is that when you place your vote and it contributes to everybody else who has voted on that particular day, does it count for something? Does it go towards something? Do you feel that it would matter if you voted or if you didn't vote? Would it matter?
Sometimes it matters, and sometimes it does not matter. The people who started to be voted as the area MPs or the Senate or the governors, sometimes they talk as if they have come from heaven, and they say, now, if you want me to go there, you direct me to go to that seat, I will do this and that. Then, after 2 years, things change.
Yeah.
Then you start seeing some other things that they are doing that they are not acceptable to what I was about to do. And I think what we need to do as Kenyans or the voters, we should have a caucus that will amplify what will be done.
Yeah.
So that we can put the MP or the Senate or the governor accountable. In the sense that now you told us when you go there you do this and that.
Yes.
And if he or she does not do that, then I think we should come to the mechanism that we should collect some signatures to
get them
somebody
out. Yes.
To get them out. Another thing is, I think the constitution is very good for the maybe for other areas. But when it comes to the way of helping the one entity to impeach somebody, because he has not done what was supposed to be done, I think we are having a problem.
I hear you.
Number one, look at you hear me?
Yes.
Number one, because for instance, me I voted in University's constituency, and my MP is Jane Kehara.
Yes.
For instance, if she does not do what I want to do, there is no mechanism that I can.
You can go and remove her.
Yes, and remove her. You know, the constitution is that one. I think there is a problem there.
I hear you on that.
Another thing is that we don't know the rules because we don't know how we can petition that person so that he can be removed out from office.
Okay, well, that's an interesting thing to discuss. Let me also take another call from Yegon this morning. Karanja, thanks for your comments this morning.
Thank you.
Yegon, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Do and City.
How are you, sir?
Good morning.
Niko salama, always Nairobi.
Well, we are here kicking it, as they say.
Okay.
And you're in Nandi this morning?
Yeah. No, I'm still in Wajir.
You're in Wajir? Okay.
Yes. Now, I want to repeat what Karanja said, that sometimes it counts, but sometimes it doesn't. You know what happens is that a leader comes in with a good manifesto.
Yeah.
But whenever you fought for him, what he or she had promised you doesn't reflect on the crown. It doesn't reflect on the purpose for you for voting for him during the election period.
Yeah.
Now, at some point also, we Kenyans are losing focus, or we are losing. We don't understand why we are voting.
You think Kenyans don't understand why they are voting?
Yes, we don't understand. Why am I saying this? You find those who, for example, now let's take, for example, Uhuru and Raila. For those who voted for Uhuru, doesn't see anything wrong that Uhuru has done. The other side, the other guys from the opposition, because now they lost, they see everything Uhuru doing is wrong. Now, if you fast track to 2017, to between now TB Ruda and Uhuru Kenyatta, those who voted for him during 2017 general election voted for this duo because of the manifesto which they had.
Right.
Now, from 2017 up to 2021, we have not seen in their manifesto something that Uhuru has eliminated, or he has refused to do, or is doing contrary to what the voters fought for him. But now, since the look at picture, since that this now Ruta and Uhuru are no longer together, those who voted for him are starting now hating the president because they perceive that they are not in good terms with the deputy president. So they are not hungry because of the president failing to deliver, but they are angry because they feel that we voted for this person because they had just alliance with this person. So sincerely, we don't know what we are doing. Now, back to the leaders from the county level, that is the MPs and the MCA and the governor. When these people are being voted in, the winner becomes your leader. But what happens to these leaders is that those who had opposed him or her have less privileges. Even to the crown, whereby when you are dispersing CDF, they are interested. Oh no, this guy had opposed you, and there are little chances for you to get the buzzer.
So your vote counts. So your vote counts depending on who you're voting for, is what you're saying. So all of those things are taken into consideration before you actually go into the exercise of voting. So you know that if it's somebody that you support and you're voting and you vote for, then it counts. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If you are the person you voted lost, for example, if this MCA and the MP, then you know that for the next 5 years, I will just be on my own.
Thanks for that, Yegon. Asante Sana for calling in this morning, and we will hear from you soon. Okay, let's take a break. It's now 9:30 on the nose. The conversation continues on 0719-012-600. Spice FM KE. We'll take your comments there as well, and we'll take a look at what you're saying this morning. Looking at the space in which we are today, does your vote count? And it seems that there are parameters within which it does. How does it count? And to what extent does it count? Talk with us this morning. It's Kenya's biggest conversation. It's the Situation Room.
...24/7, around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
Are you looking for a way to access legal aid services for matters regarding child custody and maintenance, but don't know how or where to begin? Join me, Olivia Otieno, on 00 Direct this Saturday from 10 a.m. for the Lawyers Direct Legal Clinic, a special interactive session where we will be joined by legal professionals to learn about the mandate of the National Legal Aid
Still quite some on Mombasa Road today, and looks like it's going to snake along for most parts of today. It looks like there's going to be what we're going to call everlasting traffic on Mombasa Road, at least for most parts of this Friday. So this one, guys, hold on tight, because you're going to need your wits about to get through it on this Friday. Right. Okay, other parts of the city, coming off of Thika Road, not too bad now. Right around that Juja turnoff, there was a stage that had an issue this morning, looking better. Outer Ring, hey, God, it's a mess. It's not flowing well at all, guys. Still some issues with the Outer Ring, North Airport Road area. This one we just have to watch out for. Langata Road also standstill in some parts, moving in others. It's slow, but in some parts it's moving. Ngong Road, coming into the city, that looks okay. So we're looking at pockets of traffic yet again through most parts of Nairobi. Other parts of the country seems to be flowing well. Take a lesson, Nairobi. Take a lesson. Okay, we'll keep looking at it, guys, through the day. You can talk to us. Spice FM KE on Twitter. Text on 40127. Do what you can to make it move in your neck of the woods. Or if you're stuck, shout out and we can probably find alternate routes for you through the day. Sawa sawa? All right. Text as well. 40127.
Miaka 20 safari anza ya kutuunganisha kama Wakenya. Twende tukiuke, let's go beyond, let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Mimi na wewe tukibuni, kazi nzuri ya kujivunia. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Kwa juhudi na matumaini, twaelekea kesho pamoja. Twende tukiuke, Safaricom.
Spice FM.
Hey, it's getting hot in here. The media has greatly contributed to the moral rot that we experience in this country.
I remember a senior politician telling me, point blank, nobody steals in the field, it's stolen in the granary. So my friend, if you're going to win an election, jipange kwa granary.
I think we are suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. Our violator and abuser is also our redeemer in our mind.
The whole political class, the whole political institution is rotten. It is based on ideals that cannot progress our country forward.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Home in a happen, a Safaricom Home Fiber. Stream movies non-stop at home with the best fiber internet speeds in Kenya. Dial star 400 hash and get
Star
connected
400 hash. That's the number that we're asking you to dial this morning on your phone. And so we're looking at ways in which to make life a little bit easier when you have to do everything in one spot. We have to study, you have to work, and have to entertain at home because we're not going to those spaces anymore, isn't it, guys? And we were saying that Safaricom has this brilliant option for you, whereby with just 2,900 shillings, you then have the opportunity to have Safaricom Home Fiber in your home and then be able to access some of these things. Look, I've been able to convert CT. He's actually going to do it over the weekend. Then he's going to come on Monday and give us, the results of this thing. So I think this is a good thing.
Star 400 hash.
Star 400 hash. Okay. If you get stuck, just call me and then I'll be able to, sort you out. But CT is a convert already, even before he does the deed, right? And we also have another convert this morning. What we're asking you to do is send us a screenshot of what it looked like when you were making the inquiry into how you could get home fiber. And Faith Kongo has done it this morning. Faith, you say that you need help for your studies at home. I know, hon. It's necessary for you to continue with your studies and you're doing this online. So guess what? You win 3,000 shillings of Safaricom airtime this morning. Congratulations to you, and we know that Safaricom is going to get in touch. You've made that query, and we hope that you can make that possible and have your studies, pushed along further because Safaricom made it possible, and home in a happen.
Home in a happen, a Safaricom Home Fiber. Stream movies non-stop at home with the best fiber internet speeds in Kenya. Dial star 400 hash and get connected today.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Ndru Oko and CT Muga with you in the studio. And we're asking you this morning, does your vote count on Citizens Agenda as we're coming to in the last hour of the Situation Room today? Does your vote count? Because it will fuel the decisions that you then make into the future. We're taking your calls on 0719012600. And let's hear from Zachary. Zachary, good morning.
Oh, good morning, Do.
Yes, sir.
And our old good teacher there, is he okay, Mr. Andrew?
Well, let me also speak in the third person. Yes, the old teacher is actually very well, and he greets you.
He's here and he's well.
And, I want you to start speaking teachers have got their special language. Like they still call skills of marking, zonal, results. And then, by the way, I'm able now to pronounce the word results, yeah?
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on this, Zachary?
Now, I hope Eric is okay.
Eric is fine. He's still looking for his Uduma number.
Okay, but I just gotten a message of mine that I should correct mine as from at Nyenda, where Mzee Kenyatta was born, yeah?
Mm.
And I'm going for it. Now, let me very quickly say this, yeah?
Mm.
I recall not long ago when I used to count myself as a youth, and we were having a by-election at Katundu, yeah? And one of the guys came and he started talking to us at a certain shopping center, and I embarked on asking him questions. What do you intend to do in terms of education?
Right.
Transport, and these serious things, yeah.
Mm.
And I actually put him to task explaining all those things. But now let me tell you, my friends, I was looked as if I was Satan,
incarnate.
To come in. Yeah. And you know what the other people are doing?
Mm.
There are some readers, some self-appointed readers who are raging. We are youth. The men are there, the women are there, the girls are there. You know why those groupings were arranged?
Mm.
It is so that they can know how they are going to share the spoils, okay?
To share the spoils.
Definitely, the money, the bribe that this guy was to give to them, yeah?
Mm.
And it's like everyone was rude. Oh, you Zachary, you are wasting our time, and they, you know, we're going to such and such a people. And I told them, this is the basis of sieving through. Is this guy right for last year? You know, shall our votes make sense if we elect in this guy? And let me tell you, from that point, I just came to know that my vote, even if it counts, if I'm not informed, and if I do not make my next, my companions in Gatodo be informed, my vote won't count. Because these guys believed that, Mheshimiwa will go to parliament and he will not come back here. So the hardly sharing that he is bringing to us, we should take it right now. And do you know what I did at the end of the questioning?
What's that?
I offered the guy, I told him, okay, here we have got the Madazi, we have got the soda. Are you ready to take a soda from me?
Yes.
Because you have answered my questions satisfactorily. Yeah. And you know what I was told by the other guys? Oh, you have got a lot of money, you want to show us why are you buying him and he's a billionaire? I told him, no, he's a human being like me. And then because he is also a visitor, I feel like he should, you know. And let me tell you, from that time, I just concluded that my vote will not count in the near future. Maybe, probably not in this life, yeah?
Wow. But you still continue to vote.
I still continue to vote. And can I ask you a question?
Ask.
Ask yourself, how did the Governor Sonko become a governor? How did Mr. Oichitu become a governor? You know?
They were voted in.
He was voted by people. Do you see what I'm talking about?
I hear you, man.
That if we do not vote from an informed choice, we are always going to vote charlatans, novices who cannot be able to actually put our agenda forward and execute it in the right way that we would
Zachary,
want.
I have to ask you this question. You don't seem to think, or you don't seem to be of the opinion that Governor Sonko was equal to the task of being governor of Nairobi.
Zachary, did you disappear with that question? Okay, so maybe we'll take another call. Maybe Zachary will come back. For now, let's hear from Lydia in Nakuru. Lydia, good morning.
How are you?
Very well. How are you, my sister?
How are you for so long?
Where have you been?
I've been just here in the house.
Okay.
I'm not getting out.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I want to say is that when we go for the vote, we are expecting our vote to count.
You expect it to count, yes.
But we are not asking how the vote is responding. We just want to vote. And then other question I'm asking myself: those people who we will elect, will they work? Will they take the responsibility of taking care of Kenyans? And then the other thing, you know, you vote in the way that you will be helped. Yani unapiga kula lakini usipige kura kwa sababu unaona wengine wamepiga kura na baadaye hautasaidika. So what we should do,
yes,
we should vote and ask how the things are responding and the way forward.
So you should always keep your leaders accountable, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah,
okay.
Accountable to tell us how will they work with us. And then the other thing, some people, this is what I want to say. Some people, mtu anataka umchague, anakuambia atakupea 200
That's why you're voting.
That's why you are voting.
So
na saa ingine anaweza kukuitisha hata ID yako na kwambie hapa mi nitakusaidia. That mambo yanarudi anapotea baadaye.
I hear you.
Now you hear me what I'm talking about.
Thank you very much.
Now,
Thanks for
if we want our vote to be countable.
Yeah.
First of all, we have to make peace in our country.
Okay.
And then we should make sure we don't make noise everywhere.
All right. Thanks very much for your comments this morning, Lydia. Asante sana.
Sawa.
All right. Okay. So, I mean, there we have it. This is the thing. I am voting not necessarily because I think my vote counts, but because I have a job to do and I am of the age where I should be voting, and that's why I'm making that decision. How I wish, though, that votes would come from an informed place, that more and more people would say, you know what, it's not just an exercise that I'm going to stand in the queue for a certain number of hours and get it done, but my wish is that, you know, we are making decisions coming from knowledge, coming from a knowledge base. So we're asking the question this morning, does your vote count? You're getting to the place where you're going to be asked for it over and over again in the very near future. How then is it that you are going to react to this? Will you say, you know, I'm just going to vote because I'm of the age where I need to. I'm taking the responsibility where I then must make a decision about what my vote will be. We'll keep taking your calls this morning on 0719 012 600. Also, some of the comments that are coming in on social media this morning. Caleb Sudi says, it doesn't count. We don't decide anything with our votes. Those who count our votes are the ones who decide everything. Let's hear from Ian Murathi this morning. Ian, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
I would like to make a contribution.
Yes.
I myself decided not to vote.
Why?
Because they do not make it easy.
Who's
as
they?
Myself, I would sum them as the state machinery.
Okay.
Because these leaders who we try and to vote for, some employ hooligans.
Yeah.
They come and disturb the electoral process. The state machinery is also employed who use tear gas. I remember the last time I voted, tear gas was thrown at us just here at Karioko. So it makes it hard.
It does.
It does. So you go and waste your time. You're thrown at tear gas to have someone put in a V8, and yet you yourself, you're a public transport user.
And you've made the decision based on that not to vote again. Is that what you're saying, Ian?
Yes.
Wow. Thanks for your comments this morning. Let's take some more calls. We'll hear from Jackson in Mombasa. Jackson, good morning. Hello, Jackson. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, my contribution. I think my vote will count, but at the moment, there is a comment that SpiceFM does that mtu anajipanga kwa granary.
Yes.
Yes. So with that comment from our leader, it becomes quite a difficult task. And I think as a youth, I'm looking for a shock, a shocking therapy where we reset everything in the country. We reset to factory reset. Yeah, factory setting. Once you do that, you can be able to trust the process. Because if our leaders are saying that tujipange kwa granary, as a youth, I feel my input does not really count.
It doesn't count.
Yes, the vote does not really count.
That's the state
it's
of
already
affairs.
decided.
Thanks for your comments on that, Jackson. Asante Hassana. Have a good day, Mombasa.
Thank you.
Thanks. I mean, that's what we are looking at now. A lot of folks, different experiences then fuel the decision right now about how you will vote in the future, or in this case, if you will vote in the future. It's 10 minutes to 9 o'clock. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. We'll take some more and sample some more of your comments as we go along. Let's take a break right now and come back and wrap up this conversation.
SpiceFM.
Hey, it's getting hot in here. The media has greatly contributed to the moral rot that we experience in this country.
I remember a senior politician telling me, point blank, nobody steals in the field, it's stolen in the granary. So my friend, if you're going to win an election, jipange kwa granary.
I think we are suffering from Stockholm syndrome. Our violator and abuser is also our redeemer in our mind.
The whole political class, the whole political institution.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM,
At 8 minutes to 10
Nairobi.
o'clock, we'll still take maybe one or two of your calls this morning on 0719-012-600. As we continue this conversation, does your vote count? I hear that people might be frustrated and it doesn't really come out, CT. That it's a salient frustration that people are saying, you know what, my experiences with voting in the past are enough for me to not vote again. My experiences after voting are also enough for me to vote but not be really bothered about the end result. And then further on, my experiences with voting previously are enough for me to now demand more of the next person or group of people that I will vote in. So there's a lot of things that happen from people's experiences.
Yeah, that's true. But there seems to be a disconnect. What I hear is that people seem to consider the entire voting process, not election, voting process, and then the election as a given, so that their participation is actually irrelevant. All they do is probably wake up in the morning, and since there's this exercise that people are involved in, they get involved in. But they genuinely do not seem to understand that this innocuous thing, or this process that they seem to think is innocuous, is actually something that they have a big say in.
Well, let's hear what Jimmy thinks. Jimmy, good morning from Malindi. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you, madam. How are you all?
We're doing good.
Good. Just going straight to the point. My vote counts.
Okay.
And every Kenyan vote counts. The only problem is that the Kenyans themselves, I, don't know how to count my vote.
Don't know how? Or you don't know how to make your vote count?
Yes. If your leader does not perform, you impeach him.
Okay.
You have the say. 94 of the Constitution. I wish you would read that. Bunge, mamlaka yote yako kwa wananchi. Na mamlaka haya yamekabidhiwa bunge kikatiba kwa kupigiwa kura na wananchi.
Okay.
Bunge hufuata uanuwai wa taifa, interest of the nation.
Right.
Na kuwakilisha nia ya mwananchi. And to represent the will of the people. Na kutekeleza mamlaka yao kikamilifu. You see, so if your bunge does not do what you want, you impeach him. If the president fails to do what he promised, you impeach them. We have a right.
I hear you, Jimmy, and I think that has come out loud and clear. I want to take another call from Joseph this morning. Thanks for your comments, Jimmy. Joseph Githaiga in Nyeri, good morning. Hello, Joseph, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
What I would say is that in Kenya, the vote doesn't count as much.
Okay.
There's so much confusion because, number one, the election in Kenya is not that free and fair. If you look 2013,
Yeah.
and 2017, remember even the Supreme Court,
Yes.
what said about why did they refuse to open the servers? Number two, people are sold so much propaganda about especially the region. You are told that a leader comes from the heaven, at the God is the one who appoints a leader. Yet those people, you saw like yesterday that they were praying. What can you, faith without action is
It's dead.
nothing. It's dead because they tell you a leader comes from heaven, and yet they are the ones who make those decisions. That's why you see Kenyans, especially the youth, have lost faith in this issue because they will tell you, like someone tells you that Sonko and Waitito are so bad, yet he tells you the Jubilee government is so good, that the president is so keen, at he loves people. But yet, at his government, is the one you have seen, number one, the issue of the SGR, number two, medical equipment scandal, number three, Kimwaren,
Yep.
number four, the issue of the wind power.
And the list goes
What
on
was
and
he
on.
doing?
And the list goes
He's the one
on
who
and on.
appointed those people.
Right.
And now he's telling us about the military, at the military, that he took. When we was appointing those people, he never knew those people will never deliver, and he has been given power.
Can I please
Yet
ask
it's
you a
just
question?
50.
Can I please
Yes.
ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you think the youth have the capacity to actually change all this? Because people who belong to the president's age and those who are older clearly don't seem to be able to bring about any change. Do you think young people, if they're in position of leadership, can bring about this change that we all desire?
How will they get to that leadership? First, ask yourself that one.
Let
If
me ask
they
a
will
question.
get- they
Do
will-
you trust
they
that
will
young
use-
Do you
people
trust
can...
that young people can hold the
yes,
mantle?
and do you trust that young people can actually vote other young people in?
They can, but those people will be brought by those people. Like now, they will use like the one of Jesus Kedi. They will use like a project. They put someone who will take care of their interest. So it will be still the same, that they will be putting the things behind them. Like you are seeing right now, they are planning on how the succession will be used. And they will lie to you at the youth, then they come religion, then they come tribe.
I hear you, man.
things.
I hear you,
It's
John.
like a youth is a career.
It's a career, and you're in it for some
It's like
time.
it's not a career.
I hear you, John. I hear you, Joseph. Thank you very much for your comments this morning. I'm even calling you John because John is also on the line, but I can't take that call now. Thanks very much, Joseph, for your comments this morning. CT, we're winding down to the end of the hour and just looking at, the sentiment around this, and it's important to take into consideration that there will be reasons why youth will not be making this decision.
It's based on reality, but the truth of the matter is it's not cast in concrete. If you believe there will be no change, then that will be your reality. If you believe that there can be change,
that will be a reality.
That will be a reality. And then you look for ways of making sure that change or that idea in your mind can actually be materialized so that it's something that is tangible and visible. But if you don't, then you'll be stuck in your disbelief.
In a very short time, can you wrap up the proverb perhaps for us for this week?
Yes, I can wrap up the proverb. A rotten potato affects the rest. You know something? Rwanda, Parliament, average age 47.5, youngest cabinet member 31 years old. This is not something we're dreaming about. Just next door, our neighbor here has done it. Young people can actually make a change if they have the will to do so.
Well, there you go. Thanks for keeping it the Situation Room this entire week from Monday to Friday, every day from 6 to 10 o'clock. Thank you for being with us and, having these vital, important, thought-provoking conversations with us. We definitely don't take that for granted. We have to say goodbye for this Friday, though. We'll be back with you on Monday at 6 o'clock. And as we leave this morning, you will have Sugar and Spice in plenty for an hour at least. And then you will have more Sugar and Spice with DJ Absolute and Yolanda taking you through to the Spice Drive, which will take you home from 3 to 7 p.m. And the adults in the room join you after that. Don't forget, 00 Direct with you tomorrow morning, and we will again see you next week. Keep safe. It's 10 o'clock.